are now tuned in to the Lineman Lounge, the world's thickest sports podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Evo.
Como estan, bitches? This is the Lineman Lounge for the last fucking time. I am Mike. That is Evo, and we are back with the final mock draft. A massive mock draft. We have got a ton of people backstage that I cannot wait to bring out. But before we do that, I would be remiss without saying, Evo, appreciate you, big dog, everything that's happened over the last couple years and all the things that we are still doing. And I appreciate you, man. It's been a hell of a ride. We're just getting started, man. About to raw dog the shit out of some stuff.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. Onwards and upwards with the show. Lineman Lounge is going away, and this is probably one of the best ways that we get to kind of send this show off, with some graces by having an awesome time, keeping it raw with all of our boys, doing a large scale mock draft today, day before the 2025 NFL draft in Green Bay. Gross, but super stoked to get into this. Super stoked to go over our picks, our thoughts, and all these players, because it's an exciting time for the NFL and really, for our show here.
Yeah, very, very exciting. I don't want to take too long because we're a few minutes late. Love you, Mac, backstage. Thanks for being here. Plus, an hour and a half can be a long time. So, my man, are we ready to welcome these gentlemen in? Because we got a lot of people that need to introduce themselves. Some people who have been on the show before, some that have never been here. Regardless, it'll be their last time on the Lineman Lounge. Let's get these guys in. And it looks like Mac had a miracle and now has his camera up as well. So, Guys, hello, welcome. We're going to start. Okay, X, I know you know how to do this. We're going to basically do like by the numbers. So top left corner, like you read a book, guys, introduce yourself. So, Mo, we're starting with you.
Mo from OTC, we back again. We back again on the mock draft. We was here last year. We had fun, so we just back again.
Appreciate you, Mo. Appreciate you being here as always, man.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The one and only real Xavier P, the controversial one, here to close out the Lineman Lounge. Autograph Watson jersey.
Nice, yes.
We're gonna piss some people off tonight.
Hell
That's
yeah!
all right. That's what our show's all about. It's pissing people off.
Casey Kenneman, OBR is the label that pays. You can catch me on the Barking Browns and All Eyes on Cleveland.
Thanks, Casey.
Very
I
nice.
appreciate you, man.
Casey, good being here.
Yo, what's up, man? It's your boy JL El Capitan, representing OTC, man. Happy to be back here, man. I am the man that successfully picked CJ Stroud at number 2 on the last mock draft for the Houston Texans. Just a little reminder. Kind of sad day, bittersweet to seeing the Lineman Lounge close out, but no better way than to close it out with the OTC boys. You hear me?
Absolutely, man.
Very nice.
I appreciate you guys.
All right, which way are we going now?
So it was supposed to be Mac.
Okay, all right, yeah. Sorry. So this is Mac the Buffalo, writer for Dog Pound Daily, but you can catch me on any social under the same name.
Appreciate you, Mac.
Right.
Hey, first time here, man. I'm excited to talk to you. I like what you put out on socials for the most part, and everybody misses sometimes, us for sure. But I'm glad to have you here, man.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
fun to be here.
Did I skip Mac?
Yeah, you're good, man. Don't worry about it.
Hell yeah, we taking over.
Hey, it's gonna be a shit show regardless. So I love it.
All right, I'm Andy, and you can catch me on the Dog Chug. Unfortunately, we are not going anywhere. Roger and Ed, we're like the most obnoxious podcast in Cleveland.
It's fun as hell, though.
So cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, cheers to you. Let's see those guns. You're going sleeveless for the show there.
You gotta. Sorry to emasculate you all.
Yeah.
I will sit when I pee later.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Fatty from Legal Ham to the Face and Network 216. Let's have some fun tonight. Let's cause some chaos.
Hell yeah. Guys, that is kind of what our show thrives off. It's a little bit of chaos. You've interacted with us on social media. If you're new to this, if you are just seeing us for the first time because you're here supporting one of your guys, thank you. We say a lot of shit. Time we believe it. You may not like it, but that's okay. We're gonna have an absolutely great time. We can have arguments. We can have yelling matches as long as it all stays respectful. If I think a pick sucks, I'm going to tell you, gentlemen. If you think my pick sucks, I expect you to tell me. And anybody tuning in right now, please comment in the comments. I know you're going to disagree with some of the shit that people are saying in here. I'm almost certainly going to be one of them, especially when we start talking about quarterbacks. So, without further ado, Evo, my man, are we ready to kind of start diving into the show?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead. We're gonna pull up the old PFF mock draft simulator here. Sorry, all of our faces are gonna be smaller, but we want you guys to be able to, everyone viewing, to be able to see the picks as best as possible, see what's going on. Mike's gonna kind of lead us through this, guide who has which pick and where, and then some basic ground rules is we could do trades. I personally believe that trades in mock drafts are very important. However, with so many of us in here, it would be hellacious to try to negotiate all these things. So feel free, gentlemen, when you get to your picks, absolutely talk about what you think the team should do, what they will do, and then you can give us a pick of what, if you were the GM of that team, how you would be executing this draft in order to make your football team better for the teams that you're in charge of.
Oh, that's what we're here for?
Yeah,
that is what we are here for.
All right.
So if you are a Browns fan and you have the Steelers, don't take a kicker. I mean, you can tell us that's what you want, but we can't take a kicker. Okay.
Yeah, they got me with that one year.
I got family from Youngstown, so I do anything stupid like that, I'm getting a phone call, I'm getting a text. So
mafioso.
All right,
very
guys.
Nice,
So with that, we are going to kick off Lineman Lounge final episode mock draft. Tennessee Titans, which means Andy, you are on the clock.
All right. I have the honor of picking the Tennessee Titans, the only team I'm more confident are going to screw up than we will. They're going to take Cam Ward. It's pretty obvious. That's what they should do. But they're going to ruin another quarterback, and I'm here for it.
I'm ready.
Sheesh.
Cam,
I think I agree with that.
Andy, I want to ask you though. So, do you believe that it's the coaching staff that's down there that's going to mess up Cam, or do you think it's ownership group? What's going to be the problem? Why they can't get this figured out?
From top to bottom, that organization is a true dumpster fire. Like what we think the Browns are, they actually are, in my opinion. So they're just gonna fuck it all up.
All righty.
I'm okay. I mean, I think they're taking Cam Ward. Somebody else, Mac, let me get you in here. Mac, chime in.
Oh, in terms of Cam Ward, I mean, it's it's a combination of the highest floor and the highest ceiling of all the guys. The superior athleticism, is there. He's got arguably probably the best arm of this QB draft class. He was absolutely electric. Great leader. Everybody down at Miami raves about this guy on how his attitude is, first one in, last one out. And really kind of his story. He's been at 3 schools now, Incarnate Word, all the way to Washington State, tried to go into the draft. His agent said, hey, it's not looking good. Go back for another year. So he goes to quarterback finishing school at Miami and absolutely lights it up. It's kind of unfair for Cam Ward and how his season went because if he wasn't playing the same year as Ashton Genty and Travis Hunter, there was a big argument on why he should be a Heisman winner. So, it's a home run here, but as Andy pointed out, the Tennessee Titans aren't exactly the greatest organization to go to. There's not really a lot around them. They don't have, an RB1. They really don't have a lot of talent wide receiver either. So, it's going to be a team built by Cam Ward and his efforts. So, great pick, but kind of nervous on how it's going to end out.
X, let me get you in here real quick, man. What do you think, Cam Ward? Is he highest ceiling guy as well? Because I know you're a Shedeur fan, kind of like I am.
I'm really a Cam or Shedeur at 2. That was our thing. I just think that his arm angles and athleticism is what sets him apart from Shedeur. Everything else I think is on par with each other. But if the Titans pass on him, the Browns will run up to the stage, maybe moonwalk,
100%.
backflip, take their shirt off, maybe do a little nipple rub, and they are going to turn that card in, and they're going to take Cam Ward.
Yeah, I think he's a guy that's got like the ceiling of a Cam Newton.
I wish he would have came out last year, so the Browns could have got his ass.
Yeah,
that definitely would have been our 3rd round pick for sure.
Could have been. Hopefully, we're not. Casey, what do you got here, man? I know you're a Cam guy as well, right? Big on Cam.
Yeah, man, he's a fucking dog. I mean, the mentality he keeps. I don't think he's going to fail because I don't think he'll allow it. He's a psycho competitor. He's going to walk into the league with a top 10 arm, and he gets through. He's unflappable, man. He gets through all of his reads. He evades with very little movement, real natural in the pocket. Every arm angle, every platform. You know what I mean? And it's his mentality. If you guys saw that clip of him and Shedeur when they were throwing very early in this draft cycle, like he competes at everything. You got to be mentally unwell to be a high level competitor, and you can see it in him. Like that dude's gonna have trouble when he leaves competitive football.
See, I think he's gonna be like he is that type of competitor. It's that team. We saw Andrew Luck get destroyed in his career end early because there was a bad team around him. I fear if
arguably
the Titans don't do a good job.
Cam Newton.
Yeah, very much so.
Cam Newton was more usage though. They ran that dude. I mean, I get it, and that should be a warning to any running quarterback. If that dude can't make it in the league that long doing that, nobody can.
And his frame was crazy because he was like 6'5" doing that. Like, he's not and Ward is not 6'5".
No.
Can I make a projection on who he's gonna be?
Absolutely.
I think he's gonna be Aaron Rodgers. I think he's going to use all his arm angles and he's going to escape to throw. I don't think he's going to run in the NFL, but when he runs, he's gonna get his first down. He's gonna get out of bounds. Aaron Rodgers is that's what he is, a faster Aaron Rodgers.
Ooh, Jay, you say it's crazy. What do you got on Cam?
I think everybody pretty much took everything I was going to say. I think we can go on and on about Cam. I mean, there's a reason why, he was kind of locked in early on at number 1 for Tennessee. I think a lot of people get it misconstrued. Me and my OTC brethren, we're actually pretty knowledgeable football guys. So even though we are rooting for a quarterback at 2 with Shedeur, I think our number 1 quarterback on the draft, this consensus is Cam. So that's all I'm going to say.
Okay. All right. Jared, you got anything here to wrap us up before I decide to fuck up the entire show and cause chaos?
Oh my God!
Don't
Tyler
do it.
Shuck coming inbound for the Browns.
Don't be a fool for Abdul.
You ready?
Let's do it.
Jared, you got anything?
No, everybody covered it. We're good.
All right. On to the second pick on the clock of the Cleveland Browns, and with that pick, I am taking, in my opinion, the best quarterback in this fucking draft, and it's Shedeur goddamn Sanders. It's been fucking Shedeur Sanders, in my opinion, the whole time. There is no more pro-ready guy in this draft who can diagnose a defense pre-snap, post-snap. He does not have the arm strength that you would love. Sure, I understand that completely. He gets it out early. He has excellent anticipation. He throws into windows that a lot of guys just don't even know that are there. He is so football smart. Now, currently dropping in this draft because I think there's some reports that he maybe is a little bit of an asshole. You know who else was a fucking asshole? Who I loved? Baker Mayfield. Bring me the black Baker Mayfield and let's go win some fucking games, bro. That's what I want. I want Shedeur Sanders. And since we're not doing what is projected, what I want is Shedeur. I want a quarterback that I can rally around. Again, a guy that has some swagger, a guy that understands defenses, and a guy that will fit perfectly with Kevin Stefanski. Now, go ahead and have your fun.
Hey, Hey, all I'm gonna say is that's been the pick I wanted. I've been wanting because I just feel like he fits in the fancy system like a glove. Don't get me wrong. I feel like Cam Ward can do what Shador can do, but he just has the playmaking upside. But he's gonna be gone at that point. And all I've heard all year was that we need a quarterback. If it was average QB play, we would win more games, and rightfully so. That's the truth. If our QB played better, we would have won more games. So get a QB who you can slide into Stefanski's system because Stefanski's system's so structured. If you miss that first read, that play is over with. That play is blown up and it's over with. So I love the pick, man. Thank you. Thank Jesus.
All right, so let's hear a dissenting opinion. Casey, I think you're a dissenting opinion here. So let's hear one.
Here's my problem with taking him at 2 overalls. You're going to have to play him right away now. And I don't think he's as ready as you guys think he is. If you look at one metric that follows you around from college to the pros, it's taking sacks. And if you take Shador, I have no problem with him taking Shador, but I need to develop that kid. I need to coach that out of him because if you just throw him right out there and those things are still ingrained in him, you can ruin a kid. We've seen that happen because he will take sacks, man, and that's scary. It's scary, and he's not the biggest dude. He's tough as shit. Like I would never try to take that from him. Dude's got cojones, man. But I wanted to be able to develop him. So, like, for me, if you were to tell me that he slid down the draft and the Browns traded back up into the first and got him at the tail end of the first, I don't feel you won't have the same kind of pressure to put him out on the field immediately. You know, I know, everyone knows. You draft that dude 2 overall, I don't give a shit if you come out and say, hey, our plan's to redshirt him. We know what happens after 4 losses.
He gonna play anyway.
Loud, man. And 2 overall, it's going to
So honestly, you see Joe Flacco throw a couple of pick sixes again, and it gets real loud real fast because we have seen good Joe Flacco and we've seen bad Joe Flacco. We know what happens with bad Joe Flacco. So when we got a kid sitting on the bench, you're 100% right. We're going to have to play him. It will get very loud very quickly. Very similar problem that happened with that jersey, your boy on the jersey there.
Yep.
So Casey, can I ask you a question? Do you think that's Stefanski's system, how structured it is, and how because Stefanski feasts on that short to intermediate area. Mm-hmm. So do you think that with how structured the system, you don't think that could speed up a little bit? Because
it could speed it up, but we're talking if he's the 2nd overall pick, that's more than sped up. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like the expectation, you take a dude 2 overalls, he's your starter.
What happened in New England though? Drake May was considered the 2nd best quarterback in last year's draft, and they set him behind Jacoby
for 4 games.
Where would you?
They won 4
but
games.
That's because Jacoby was Jacoby. So
true. Where would you place Shador though in last year's draft?
I have Shador obviously way higher than some of you guys do. I had him higher than like Bo Nix for sure.
Preach.
I probably have him higher than.
I had him higher than Penix. I said 4th.
I have him 3. I have him 3. I wasn't too high on Drake May.
I liked Drake May, but Drake May started to fall down my board a little bit at the end of the year.
But I really didn't.
Penix is tough.
Either.
Penix was nice though.
I didn't like Williams. I just didn't think Williams would transition to the NFL well. Just on, I don't know. I just didn't see it. I just felt he was a little too sensitive to take on the pressure of the NFL. And to back up on taking sacks, I think turnovers translate to the league as well. And Josh Allen was a turnover machine at Wyoming, and when he first got in the league, and they coached it out of him. So I feel that the number one thing that helps Shador, that's going to change Shador and how people view Shador, is a running game. You give him a running game, and he's not trying to get style points, he's going to throw the ball away or get it out. But he never had a run game.
Well, and the offensive line in Colorado was atrocious. But I don't want to take too much here. So let's go to the other side of the board here. Jay, hop in here, man. Obviously, I'm sure you like the Shador pick. Where are you at?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like mind blowing that we can hear about who Stefanski's prototypical quarterback would be, and you have this kid that looks like he's cut out of a cookie cutter that Kevin Stefanski, if he went in the lab, he would say, okay, if you ask for qualities for a quarterback for Kevin Stefanski, you would ask for a quarterback that had accuracy. You would ask for a quarterback that took care of the ball. You would ask for a quarterback that played on time. I don't see how people can look at this kid and not understand that he's built for Kevin Stefanski and what he wants to do on offense. So I'm gonna leave it short like that. I don't want this shit to drag out all day long. The other thing I would ask to Casey is, you talk about coaching sacks out of a quarterback. There's not a lot of teams, and I've said this before in my spaces on OTC. There's not a lot of organizations that are good at developing quarterbacks. People always talk about, oh, they can develop them, they can sit them behind it. Teams do not have good track records of developing quarterbacks. Outside of Green Bay, everybody else is fucking horrible at developing quarterbacks. So I think that you have to play Shedeur at 2 if you draft him. I agree with that. But I think that how can you coach a kid out of taking sacks when he's not getting live reps? You can't even touch a quarterback in practice. So I think throwing him in the fire, and you do have to coach that out of him a little bit, but I agree with X. I think the run game would not make him press and feel like he has to carry the team on his shoulders and extend those plays as much. So I think it would be a home run pick for what Kevin wants to do.
All right, Matt, quickly go.
Yeah, 100% home run pick here. The one thing that you look for in quarterbacks, I don't care who you're evaluating, how do they deal with pressure? Well, just like how you guys said, he had no offensive line and he had no run game, which means the defense can tee off on him. I don't have to sit here and give you all this data. Everybody knows it is so much easier to rush the passer when you know it's going to be a drop back pass every single time. And among quarterbacks last year with 100 pressure dropbacks, he had the third highest passer rating. He had the most touchdown. He had the most passing yards against being pressured. So how many times have we seen across seasons, where the run game breaks down and the Browns quarterback has to get a first down on third down? He knows the rush is coming. So why not select the quarterback that was best against the pressure of last year? That is Shedeur Sanders. I don't care about any of the other stuff. We've seen him throw the ball downfield. We've seen him win on a Hail Mary. And you guys want to sit here and talk about arm strength. I could care less. The ball is going in the end zone. That's what matters. Shedeur at 2.
Mac, I love it. Jared, go.
Right now, a quarterback at 2 I don't think it's for the Browns right now. The only reason why is it's not that his caliber or how it goes. I think what it is right now is we don't actually know who's in charge of the Browns. Honestly, because you guys are talking about Kevin Stefanski's offense. Well, guess what? He fired his offense last year to make offense for Deshaun Watson, which didn't work. So now we're going back to his offense again with a new offensive coordinator, with new offensive everything. Right now, I think you need a guy in here that's familiar with Joe Flacco and everybody else. And picking a quarterback at 2 just speeds up the timeline of that kid starting and possibly getting ruined. And I just don't like it for this team right now. I really don't. I'm a Browns fan. I'm clamoring for a quarterback at 2 too. I want it, but I don't think this is the quarterback we need at 2 until we figure out what else is going on with this team, because we still don't know what's going on with this team.
I'm not a huge fan of taking a quarterback at 2 for you guys either, because there are more question marks than I would like to see from Shedeur than a typical quarterback that's going to be taken at 2. Like the value proposition to me just doesn't work out at that spot right now. It's not that I dislike Shedeur, but when I look at the opportunity and look, we floated this and now it's been floated around all over in a ton of different markets. You take Travis Hunter at 2, and you can find a way to try to trade back up, even if it's some sort of a Godfather package to get back up and bring him in. I feel way more comfortable for you with that, because Travis Hunter is one of those blue chip guys in this draft. Shedeur's not. You're not going to have an opportunity to take Shedeur and then move back up to get a blue chip guy. The only way that works is if you get that blue chip guy now and then hope to get Shedeur later. But I think that there's still enough question marks with Shedeur, Cam Ward, and every other quarterback in this draft that it's not a sure thing that you're going to get a home run player out of this guy like last year's draft was pretty special with quarterback talent. It's surprising to see how well Drake May did on such a bad team. That's an outlier in my opinion. And I know I got a lot of Browns fans in here, but I don't know if the Browns in their current state are a fertile ground to grow a quarterback in yet.
So
because of the offensive line woes, because you don't know who that running back's going to be. You bring up wanting a running game, and absolutely the running game is going to support a young quarterback, but Nick Chubb's not there. And if he's back, is he going to be the Nick Chubb of old pre-injury? Is that offensive line going to be what it was 3 years ago? And I personally am not there with the team yet. It scares me to throw a rookie in there and see how difficult that situation could be. That's why I've been a big proponent of take a blue chip guy, take that Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter if that's your want, and then take a shot for that quarterback later.
Well, see, I got a question though. Aren't you a Minnesota fan?
I sure am.
So your roster, let's say before this past trash season that we had with the Browns, how would you compare your roster to the Browns roster?
I think that we were held back because of our quarterback contract.
Exactly.
We had aging guys and stuff like that who were average to above average, but once we started kind of cleaning out those old contracts, we were able to find, 2 years ago, last year, we had a pretty damn good free agency class, but people didn't expect it until we saw the production on the field. And we were able to start to do that because we got rid of Kirk Cousins and got out from under that big contract.
Well, see, the contract aside, and I'm not going to hijack this so we can speed this up, but honestly, Minnesota last year, the season, the way it went is because of the emergence of Darnold, right?
Yeah.
So that's my main point. If you don't get the quarterback right, nothing else matters. So if Darnold didn't emerge last year, you guys would have been running the mill probably in the NFL like everybody else. But that amazing season that he had, combined with the way you guys built that roster, I mean, that's what took you over the top. And that's the same thing for the Browns. We can talk about, we do have holes in this roster, but this roster isn't terrible, right? I mean, if we get JOK back healthy, and we have some pieces on this team, so
we need a damn safety.
We need a free safety bad. That's one of my main concerns. But we need to get the quarterback position right because, like I brought up Minnesota, until you get the quarterback position right, nothing else matters.
My argument to that would be Kevin O'Connell made Sam Darnold a lot better. Also, it's a lot easier to look really good when you're throwing to Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison.
I would say their coaching staff, I would take over ours in a heartbeat. And I was a Kevin Stefanski guy for a very long time. I was in the spaces saying I was a Kevin Stefanski guy. Dude, as soon as I read that fucking Jason Lloyd article, I was done. I was out.
So
you don't coach your people. I'm done. We cannot keep going here. Andy, I need you to wrap us up real quick.
Okay. Let's see. I love Baker, so I mean Sanders would be awesome because they have a lot of similar qualities. So I have that going for him, and he could get us out of this hole immediately because I think he could start pretty early. I think that's realistic. So those are good things, but in my heart of hearts, I kind of agree with what we've been talking about. I don't think he's an AFC North quarterback, and I just think it's going to be another disaster. There's too much pressure. That's the problem. Quarterback to come in his rookie year and just take us out of here the way that Daniels did with Washington. I just don't see with the 20 years we've sucked that's going to happen. And here's the thing. Am I afraid if the Steelers somehow get Sanders?
Oh, man, my God. I'm going to lose my mind if it happens because he's going to kill us.
Can I just push back on one point? I hate hearing this because it drives me crazy. What about Shedeur Sanders? Is he not an AFC North quarterback?
Well, I think he's a little on the undersized.
Is he the same size as Joe Burrow?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Joe Burrow's 6'4".
Yeah, Joe Burrow's
a little bigger, I think. Bigger hands, I think, too, measured. But
so hands and size.
And he takes a lot of
size matters.
He just doesn't have like a very built thick frame. Maybe that'll grow. I don't know, but I just don't see an AFC North quarterback, the traditional AFC North quarterback. If he comes here, I'll be his biggest fan, but my heart loves it. My brain says, I don't know. So I think I pass at 2.
I love it. I love the discourse here. The AFC North quarterback is an interesting thing to me. I haven't heard this too much. Lamar Jackson's not an anybody quarterback.
Nope. He's a unicorn.
So, I mean, yeah, he's a unicorn, which hopefully we don't have to talk about the other guy who apparently might be compared to him later in this first round. But, guys, we have got to move on. Size does matter. That is what she said. Appreciate you running bald, man. Guys, let's move on.
Justin.
On the clock, the New York Giants. Evo, you're up.
All right. I'm going to make this one pretty simple and quick. If Travis Hunter had gone there, it'd be an Abdul Carter. And in real life, I think that's probably the way it's going to go out. They'll go after Abdul Carter, but they're probably going to entertain some trade talks. I don't think that they're going to pull the trigger on a quarterback at this point. If you listen to a lot of reports, apparently in the past 48, 72 hours, Giants and Dable are really high on Jackson Dart, and I would expect them to shoot for Dart and have a Darty party either later in the first round by moving back up, or trying to take him early in the second round if they can get him. Though that 5th-year contract on a first-round pick is probably a nice thing they're going to look for. But with Travis Hunter sitting here, they do have Kayvon Thibodeau there. He would be the odd guy out if you took Abdul Carter, and would probably be part of that trade package to move back in to get a Jackson Dart at some point. But with Travis Hunter here, I'm going to go with Travis Hunter. The thought of having Travis Hunter and Malik Neighbors out there at wide receiver, and then for them to still attempt to get a Jackson Dart later in the draft, I'm both high and low on Jackson Dart. I think he's got a high ceiling but a really low floor. If there's one type of coach that could work with him, someone who did the same sort of stuff with Josh Allen, it would be Dable. So I'm going to go with Travis Hunter here. That's the pick for the Giants 3.
All right, so we're going to do this pretty quick. Andy, hop in here.
I mean, it's a slam dunk. If we pass on Travis Hunter, they're going to take Giants.
Mo, what do you got? Anything else? I mean, honestly, like that's the way it seems, right? If we pass on Travis,
they're good.
We're probably not going to do. Let's be honest. I'm doing Shadur because it's good content and that's what I want. But Travis Hunter makes 100% sense, right?
Yeah, you pair him up with Neighbors, and then I mean you got Russell Wilson there who he had a decent season. It's just he's not your guy for the future. You feel me? So and then you can see how that work out. And if they're a dynamic duo on the field together, and they figure out how to use them on the cornerback side or a nickel, then you go get your QB. I mean, watch out because Neighbors already came onto the scene and had a crazy year. Him and B2K. So.
He's insane. Does anybody have any earth-shattering analysis about Travis Hunter going 3 if the Browns pass?
I feel this is where I think the New England Patriots will call the Cleveland Browns to jump the Giants, and they would either give us a future first in the 4th, or maybe we might take their 2nd-round pick just to flop spaces. But if we think he's a earth-shattering blue chip prospect, then we might get a 1st and maybe a 2nd, and then we will team Hunter with Vrabel in New England, and they will be picking 2nd, and they will take Hunter, especially with our relationship with Vrabel. That might be a call that's made. Say, hey, do you want Hunter? And especially if they want Sanders, I think that would be the first trade of the draft. But
you'd feel a little bit better value proposition wise taking Sanders at 4 possibly than 2, because you're getting Sanders plus extra picks, potential first-round picks in this sort of situation.
Matt, you look like you had something there. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm gonna throw everybody for a loop here. I already know I'm gonna get shit for this.
Hell yeah, do it.
Everything that I've been saying for the past couple of weeks. They're gonna pick Abdul Carter, and it's really the best fit for Abdul Carter. Abdul Carter makes sense here, and they're absolutely enamored with him. They think that he is the next Lawrence Taylor. They do not want to pay Kayvon Thibodeau. They do not. They are trying to avoid it at all costs. Number one, the defensive end market right now is crazy, thanks to Myles Garrett. Number two, I mean, having a 3-4 defense changes the conversation for me personally for Abdul Carter, because he really is an outside linebacker. He does not have to play inside of offensive tackles meaning that it's a foot race upfield. And Abdul Carter will win that 9 times out of 10. Especially playing with Brian Burns, playing with, Dexter Lawrence. They shored up the quarterback room, and it is very deep in this draft at wide receiver. So Brian Daboll is kind of looking at him, and he goes, okay, there's 2 blue chip players in this draft. There's Abdul Carter, there's Travis Hunter. And our defense really makes sense to maximize Abdul Carter. So it doesn't matter whether Travis Hunter is on the board or not. They're taking Abdul Carter. Everybody knows that they're taking Abdul Carter, and it's going to be a quick pick. I do not imagine more than 15 seconds elapsing tomorrow before they announce it.
All
But
right.
the NFL's got to milk it out.
Yeah, well, yeah, that is, they will find a way to slide in at least 12 commercials. But you bring up a really good point. You talk about the edges that they would have with Abdul Carter, the speed off the edges with the push that they can get up through the middle. That defense is incredibly, incredibly dangerous. And then you pair that with a veteran quarterback. Maybe you guys can win a lot of games because all he has to do is take care of the ball. You can get after the quarterback. So the idea of building this defense, the only way the Giants, for most of our memories, have ever won anything of importance is by having a dominant pass rush. They're probably trying to recreate that right now. So, guys, anybody got anything else before we move on to pick 4, X?
Let's get this thing rocking, man. Who picked?
All right, let's do it. X, let's do it, bro.
All right, so with New England, who was 4-13 last year, I think their top needs are offensive tackle, wide receiver, edge rusher, interior O-line, and cornerback. Like I stated, I think they would probably trade up for Hunter if the Browns called them. But right here with Abdul Carter on the board, I think that would be the pick. But they might want to protect their quarterback. So it's either Will Campbell or Abdul Carter. So I'm going to pick the left tackle, but in real life, I'm thinking they're going to draft. They're going to call the
Cleveland.
They're gonna trade again. I think if they possibly are sitting there and New York take Abdul Carter, I think they're gonna take Hunter, and they're gonna call them about Thibodeau. So they'll do a 1-2. So, but for right now for the draft, Will Campbell.
Will Campbell. All right, Casey, let me get you in here, bro. What do you got on this?
It's Mike Vrabel. He's going to build this thing from the trenches outward. He's going to try to set it. He wants to be physical first and foremost. Campbell does that. I'm not even sold that Campbell's a long-term tackle. I think he can play tackle. I think he's best suited at guard, but he's talented enough that he could be a plug and play wherever you need him. And he's a tone setter. So I think Vrabel would be into that. He'd be into Abdul Carter much in the same way. They want to be nasty in the trenches. So if the board fell this way, in real life, I think Campbell's probably the most realistic option as well, just because of his versatility. And they're going to try to get mean up front and build from there.
Mo, let me get you in here.
Oh, one more thing. I mixed. My mind was going. A surprise would maybe Genty. A surprise might be a running back here at 4 to team
Move
with their quarterback.
Okay. All right, Mo, go ahead.
Will Campbell, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, they need tackle help. Me personally, for them, Abdul Carter make more sense, but Will Campbell makes sense too, though. And I think he's better than what people think. So like they keep talking about his arms, but I think he's a monster.
I think he's a guard, in my opinion. Jared, let me get you in here.
I agree with the pick. I agree.
I'm sorry, Jay, not Jay. Jared. I didn't mean to cut you off, Jay. I'm sorry.
Fuck me, on the last Lineman Lounge.
I love you. You know I love you. That's why your ass keeps coming back.
I think this is the right pick for New England, especially like the way Vrabel likes to coach. Offensive line, defensive line, and then running back, and need to build up that offensive line in New England. So I like it.
All right. Jay, I guess you can go now.
Damn, I appreciate it. Treat me like shit, man. I was the one that accurately said that Kareem Hunt had some gas left in that fucking tank. You tell Jacob
Hey.
Roach I'm looking for him.
Listen, you're not the only one to call shit. I also said that, Bryce Young was QB4 in that draft, and everybody gave me a ton of shit about that.
True. No, I agree. I agree with the pick. If the pick is to solidify the trenches, I'm good with that. I ain't got nothing to say. Let's keep this shit rolling.
All right, here we go. Let's move it on, guys. Moving on to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mo, you were up.
Now, what I think they're going to do is Mason Graham. It makes sense. You get your interior D lineman. You know what I'm saying? He's a monster in the middle. He can push the pocket with Arik Armstead and for Allen and Walker. But there's been rumors they trying to move off Walker. And I mean, Abdul right here. If you don't want to pay Trayvon Walker, you can flip him and you can have Abdul Carter. Like, I ain't gonna lie. If it was me right here, I'd trade Trayvon, get some capital for him because you don't want to pay him already. You don't think he gave you the production. He had back-to-back 10 and a half sack years. But, I mean, if you think Abdul Carter can be better than him, you might as well move off of him at that point. So, give me Abdul Carter at that spot. And we ain't doing trades, but they'll trade Trayvon Walker.
Yeah, Abdul Carter here makes 100% sense. Does anybody have any objections to Abdul Carter going at 5 at this point? One of the blue chips, I think I've heard everybody say it, right?
Look, I think if he's on the board, you have to take him there. The predominant thought that Mason Graham is going to go to the Jags at this spot tomorrow night, I'm laying the gauntlet down now. He's not going there. Like, it's kind of out there that they are hot on Genty, hot on McMillan. They think that they can get defensive tackle second round or later in this draft. Don't be surprised if they go after a Genty or a McMillan tomorrow night. Same thing. Look, Patriots are going to take Will Campbell. It sounds like they are all in on Will Campbell tomorrow night. It might not be at pick 4, though. That's a spot that they think the Patriots probably are going to be looking to trade down, and someone like the Bears or even further down might try to move up with them to get Genty because they're not going to be able to get him for too much longer.
No, and I'm pretty sure we're going to move on to this next pick here, and that's exactly where Genty's going to go. Mac, you're on with the Raiders. Are you going to surprise everybody and not take him? Because if the Bears make a trade, they got to go up to 5 to get him, it sounds like.
Well, it's funny that you had brought up that the Patriots might be looking to trade down. One of those people that might be looking to trade up are the Raiders to select Ashton Genty. There is a little bit of smoke coming out about how Jacksonville might not want to pay ETN. And to be honest, why would you?
Would you?
He's not exactly close to an all-pro running back while good. So why don't you pick the best running back in the draft? But so anyway, Raiders, Pete Carroll, he's always been a run the ball guy. He, the only time he didn't was when Russ called an audible. Sorry, Seahawks fans. But, my comp for Ashton Genty, he is Maurice Jones-Drew, but 2 inches taller. He is wildly explosive.
The exact same comp.
The same vision, the same low to the ground shiftiness, which helps, him with his contact balance. If you're lower to the ground, it's pretty easy to kind of stick your arm out there and keep yourself upright. I think the craziest part about this whole thing is everybody says, oh, well, he just went to Boise State. Who do you play? Throw on the Penn State tape. He was breaking 6 or 7 tackles just to get 5 yards, and he could have easily given up, right? But that guy was fighting every single down, and he's the workhorse that you want at running back. There's an argument that he might be a blue chip guy. I think the only thing stopping that is just simply the view on his size. So,
usage maybe. So I love Genty. One of the best running backs I've ever seen, feet in the hole. His ability to move 6 inches is so good. And that's all it takes. And that's where Maurice Jones-Drew was so good at being at smaller size that it was it was so hard to hit him. Casey, get in here.
Sneaky Pete understands the importance of having a workhorse running back like that. You saw how Marshawn was the engine of those teams in Seattle. I think that if you get this, you get that from the day one, because Pete Carroll was trying to trade for Marshawn Lynch 2 years before they got him. Like, he understands the importance of that. So just to fast forward this a little bit, he ain't got much time in the league, you know that. So to get Genty from day one, I think that'd be a good fit for them.
It seems like the perfect match made in heaven. I'm throwing it out there right now. If Genty's on the table at pick 6 tomorrow night, they're going to take Armand Membu. Just calling it now. I feel like it would be the perfect pick for him. I think that they're going to pass on it, which is weird because Pete Carroll's old. He doesn't have much time coaching left, even though it's his first year there. You think that he would want some impact players like that right away. However, my guts tell me that if Genty is still there, they're actually going to go Membu. And it might not even be an option because Genty could be going higher than this via those trade-up scenarios.
Evo, I'd throw the name Calvin Banks Jr. in there as well.
Very true. Very true.
Those are the two it comes down to for tackle.
All right, Casey, well, let's keep it with you because you're next on the clock. You're picking for the Jets.
Well, we just said the man's name. So I look at this Jets team, and obviously Aaron Glenn comes in, defensive-minded coach. You might think they want to bolster that side of the ball. But the way this board's falling into scarcity, I can get a defensive lineman later. I want to get a premier tackle. I'm getting Armand Membu. He's a natural right tackle of Missouri. Pairing him with Olu Fashanu, I'm bookending my offensive line right here, right now.
I love this pick. I think he is the best lineman in this draft. His technique is fucking flawless. Now, I do have a question for you. Do you see him as a tackle or do you see him better as a guard? I think he can play right tackle, but in my opinion, you slide him into right guard, he's all pro first year.
I'm keeping him at tackle. It's his movement skills for me. I love him on the edge. He finds work on the second level, and I would like if we were to come down to it and say the Browns were to trade back some fanciful thing where Chicago comes in and I can get Armand Membu, I would even transition him to a left.
You try left.
His movement skills are the best I've seen in this draft class.
Oh well, his technique is flawless. His kick is perfect. It's one of the best that I've seen probably since Joe Thomas. His vertical set is amazing. I love this kid. The size and with all the things that happened that came out of the combine, who knows how fucking big everybody is, what their arm lengths are at this point. I think he's an exceptional, all pro guard, probably can play right tackle, can play right tackle. Left would be a little bit of a stretch for me. Somebody else hop in here.
I think Membu's an athletic freak, not gonna lie. I seen some of his tape, man, and the way he moves. I'm not gonna lie, Casey. If you was to put him in that ground and pound system that Stefanski got, bro, he'll be like Wyatt Teller at right tackle. He will be.
He's mean.
People, he's mean in the trenches, and that's something that you want out of a tackle. And they already got Olu last year. He was mean in the trenches too. So now you got two tackles that get mean in the trenches. That'll be tough to deal with. That'll be tough.
That's why I think New England will be a key to trade down, because between him and Will Campbell, I think they wouldn't lose. So, because everyone loves value, I think he is a good pick here. A totally good pick.
Andy, let's hop in here, brother. What do you got?
I got nothing.
Hell yeah. I like it. You got a beer?
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. Producer Amber poured me a drink with 6 fucking shots in it. So that's why it's taking so long. Sorry, guys.
Come on the dog chug at 10 p.m., please.
All right, deal. All right, guys. We're going to move on to the next pick. Jared, you are on the clock with the Panthers.
Obviously, they need everything because it's the fucking Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
So let's go with, I don't know. Let's throw a name out there. Let's go McMillan.
Yeah. I mean, Ted McMillan on the board. Ted McMillan on the board here makes a lot of sense for them to take it. You're trying to continue to pair playmakers with a young quarterback who showed improvement. I'm not completely changed on my Bryce Young opinion yet, but showed a lot of improvement late in the season last year. So you give him a big body receiver, maybe go out and get a couple passes. Maybe Bryce Young looks a little bit better. Casey, what do you got?
for me, Ted McMillan's the most like over thought player in this draft. If the draft would have been 2 weeks after the season ended, this kid's in the top 5. But because you get him in there like, oh, he's not quick twitch. It's like, no shit, he's 6'5", 215. Like
long strider. Like that's what he is.
But if you watch the tape, everybody's like, oh, I'm worried about him getting separation. Well, watch the tape. He gets separation. And he's phenomenal. He's way too fluid of an athlete to be that big in the open field with the ball in his hands. And then the weird thing is, like, he's like a 2-sport athlete, but the other sport's fucking volleyball. Like, we don't get to see that very often in the league.
He's fucking 6'5". He can jump.
Yeah.
X, get in here.
Do you guys think that, speaking on that, he said the draft would be different if it was a couple weeks ago. Do you think if the combine and the draft was closer to the Super Bowl, kind of similar to the WNBA draft, that there'd be less buzz and people would not overthink things?
I don't think that the NFL would ever allow that because they make so much money off of what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Like
they make money, but the best players are still the best players. Like we get too much time and we get prospect fatigue. And we're like, oh, Ted McMillan's all of a sudden everybody's.
We start looking for things. What is wrong? Like we have.
I said he might fall to the second round because people don't like him. Everybody blew up on me. I'm like, he might fall because the NFL is weird. But that's a good pick. That's a good pick. Well, I was saying because of the things that people were saying about him. So and people
didn't like to watch film and stuff like that. That was crazy. That was crazy.
Henry Ruggs went before Jettis. So people.
It happens.
They have certain things.
Because Matthew Golden got a wide range to me too. I think he's a sleeper wide receiver to go in the top.
You can get Evo talking about Matthew Golden all night, but let's not do that. Let's move on to the next pick. We are where are we at? We're at pick 9. Jay, you are up with the Saints.
Man, the Saints are one of the most confusing organizations in the history of man, right next to our Cleveland Browns and everybody else that has been a dumpster fire in the past. I don't know where the fuck the Saints are going to go. I would think if they were smart, they would trade back. I think there's a lot of players that are being pushed down value-wise. Obviously, I think the Derek Carr news is really sketchy on how it came out so close to the draft. I don't know if they were setting up something to where maybe they were tempering their fans for the blowback they're going to get when they end up selecting a Jackson Dart. So I feel like at 9, I feel like they have to go quarterback here, in my opinion, if they don't trade down. So I'm going to give them Jackson Dart. Manny's going to go fucking crazy, but Jackson Dart, I think the skill set that he has, he's not one. He's hard to evaluate for me because I heard a lot of stuff about him during the season, and I went out and made a plan to watch him play. And every time I turned him on, it was against quality competition in Kentucky. Kentucky plays tough. And then I seen him against Florida, and he just has these like meltdowns in the clutch. I mean, I think he can rip it. I think he's athletic. He has a lot of stuff you look for in a quarterback. But he, I just feel like in big spots he kind of melts down. But I think that the coach there, what's the kid's name?
Kellen Moore.
Yeah, Kellen Moore. I think he's a good up and coming NFL mind. I think he showed that in Philly. He showed that in Dallas. So I think he'll get a hold of Jackson Dart and give it his best effort. So I'm going to go with Jackson Dart for the Saints.
Okay, so I'm not a Jackson Dart guy. I do not like this pick. Not because I just don't like Jackson Dart. Do I think the Saints need to do something crazy because of what's happening with their quarterback room? Yeah, for sure. But I'm not a Jackson Dart guy. I got him as quarterback 4, and definitely not a first round pick. So I don't love this, but it makes sense in the context of what's happening. But with Mason Graham on the board, God, it's so hard to pass that up. Evo, what do you got?
Hey, look, I've been a proponent of Jackson Dart. I do think this is probably too high for him. But if the Saints were to be in this position, they absolutely could try to trade down, take him a little bit later where it feels a little bit better. I still kind of think that I've heard that the Saints like Dart, that Kellen Moore likes Dart, but they wouldn't go swinging big this early on in the draft. I still kind of think that you like. I put this to you, gentlemen. I know I put it out on one of our last shows with the Lineman Lounge, but do you all know who the last first-round quarterback was that was taken by the Saints?
Archie Manning.
19.
There you go. I think they're going to be looking for him next year to possibly come full circle, and taking Dart in the first round this year would pretty much put the brakes on that if they have an opportunity to go after him next year, assuming that he comes out in the draft. I think Dart's like one of the lower floor quarterbacks in this draft, but really high ceiling if he has a good developmental guy. We haven't really seen if Kellen Moore can develop guys that well. I believe it was brought up earlier by Jay. You don't see too many teams out there developing quarterbacks.
No,
and
the
so
NFL doesn't do it.
the odds probability of that happening is lower. A guy like a Mason Graham here hitting is probably higher. But look, if you feel like the guy is your guy, you might as well take him and not give a shit where you take him, because if you're able to hit on him, no one's going to say, oh, it was a bad value pick 2 or 3 years from now. They're going to say, holy shit, the Saints have Jackson Dart, and he's an awesome quarterback if it works out. Otherwise, we're all going to clown the Saints.
Yeah. Mac, I see you with your hand up. Mac, I see you. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is a very questionable pick, not just because it's a quarterback, but it's because it's Jackson Dart. Now, you know, in terms of if you never took his offense into account, like if you just watched highlights of this guy, you would think, oh, wow, amazing talent. And, you know, he is. He's got a above average arm. You know, he's got the big size. He is an athlete. He can run. The only problem is that he comes from a Lane Kiffin offense. You know, 49% of all of his dropbacks were straight dropbacks. You know, no play action, no RPO. So you have to teach this kid, you know, 2-3 read progressions, and that doesn't happen overnight. You cannot start this guy week 1. Right now, Derek Carr has a shoulder injury. So more than likely what's going to happen is that they're going to build around the roster. Like Evo said, more than likely look to quarterback next year, and they're going to take one lower with a higher floor. Maybe a Shuck, maybe a Will Howard. My pick right here, if I'm the Saints GM, I want to take Mike Green. Number one, I do not, you know, I don't have a lot of faith in Marcus Davenport to stay healthy. Number two, Cam Jordan's not going to be around forever. Why not pair him with a Mike Green, you know, an aggressive edge that can run through, I would say, 95% of NFL offensive tackles. I mean, the guy is, everybody says that Abdul Carter, you know, is the next Micah Parsons. I think that's Mike Green. That guy is explosive off the ball. So that would be my pick there. Again, I don't hate the pick of quarterback. You know, they do need to address that. But my problem is that Jackson Dart is not going to be ready until 2026. So I don't think that they would waste a pick there, especially with a great quarterback class next year.
I do want to add a caveat saying that my initial thing would be for them to trade back because I'm getting destroyed on this pick.
It's okay. Listen, it happens to all of us. X, what you got?
Isn't the QB coach Nussmeier's dad?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think they'll have a 2-year plan. I think they're going to start, what's his name? Rattler, the fake Mahomes, the old fake Mahomes. They're going to start Rattler, and they're just going to tank it the hell out, and they're hoping for Manning, but they'll settle for Nussmeier, or they might tank it 2 years out and go all in for Manning. But I just think Nussmeier might be their goal next year. So I don't think they would. I don't think they would take a quarterback here. I think they will probably trade down.
Casey, what you got? You got something on your mind, brother?
No, I mean, I'm a renowned Dart hater. And physically, I get it.
Same.
Physically, he has the tools. He's fast enough. He's big enough. He has a strong enough arm. He's got cojones mas grandes. He'll stare down a blitz and deliver. But it's between the years. And part of it, I don't want to blame him just because the offense that he came from. Because Lane Kiffin will hold your hand. It's all predetermined throws, half-field reads. He's not getting to a backside dig. It's just not happening. But when Lane was unable to hold his hand, like you said, I would see the meltdown. And he wasn't able to process. And so much of this game is between your ears, especially like they do not develop quarterbacks in college. It's not their job. Lane Kiffin's trying to keep his job.
They're trying to win.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah. I get it, you know. But
shut the fuck up and throw it where I tell you to. 21-year-old kid.
There's a bet on the line tomorrow night. If Jackson Dart gets picked in the first round, I have to eat spam on air. So
get ready then.
I think you're eating spam.
I'm dug
Somebody's going to be stupid enough to go up there and get them. Mo, what do you got? And then I'm coming to you, Andy.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie. People say it don't make sense, but Rattler looked terrible.
He was awful.
Like, and they literally don't have anybody to get Olave the ball. So I mean, like, if you sit there, who's their OC? Isn't it Kubiak, right?
It was Kubiak. I don't know.
Kubiak's in Seattle now.
Yeah.
Isn't Kellen gonna take over? Kellen gonna let somebody else?
Oh, Kellen Moore, right? I think. Wait, is it Kellen Moore?
Yeah,
he's the head coach now, so it's
Oh,
going to be his.
so he's gonna be. I mean, he implemented a good RPO system over there in Philly as an OC. So I mean, he can help him. Maybe he can help him translate. But I mean, they had so much firepower on offense, with the offensive line being disgusting, to having Saquon Barkley, who we ain't even got to say his name. So like, it's just a whole different. It's a different aspect. But I mean,
they got Kamara.
And you know what? Respect to Kamara, but he's not fucking Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, he's not Saquon. He's not Saquon. I think Jackson Dart. I like Jackson Dart, but I do agree with Casey. Like, it's between the ears, and I've been saying that his learning curve is going to be way steeper because of that offense that he was in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that it's going to be steeper than a Sanders. Then I even feel like kind of like even a Howard, like he was in a more pro style offense than Jackson Dart was. Like, so.
Andy, coming to you, brother. What do you got?
Look, the Saints are going to be hot garbage this year, and they're going to sit Dart for most of the year. So why would you take him? Just suck anyway, and then next year you'll probably be in line to take a much better quarterback, in my opinion. So I would not say that's a good move for the Saints, but if they do it, it'll be fun to watch how terrible it.
Especially at 9, a top 10 pick for Jackson Dart would be, to me, just a massive overreach. If you want Jackson Dart, you can trade back to 25, probably.
Whoa. You think he going that late?
Yeah. Well, listen, I am not a Jackson Dart lover. I think this kid is quarterback 4, so I don't have him in the first round at all.
Who you got at quarterback 3?
Howard.
Shit.
I got Shedeur at 1. I have Shedeur at QB1, Cam at 2, and Will Howard at 3.
I like the Oregon quarterback.
I'm telling you, I throw out some crazy shit every year. I fucking hated Zach Wilson. People loved him. I was like, no, he sucks. Man, listen, I trust what I see when I evaluate a quarterback. I will be the odd man out, and I will take shit for 6 months for it. To be right for the next 2 years, as I was with fucking Bryce Young. So,
yeah, that's 2 of us.
Hey, all right, but guys, that is the first round of our picks. Thank you. I just want to say thank you guys all for being here. The second half, as we get into our next picks, we're going to speed this up a little bit because I don't want to keep all of these people waiting. And we do have a bunch of people here for the very last episode of the Lineman Lounge. But as I told you guys before, we don't do anything small. Like we make grand gestures out of shit we don't need to. So the Lineman Lounge is absolutely going away. But you will definitely hear my and Evo's dumbasses talking about sports all of the time. The No Sleeves Network, our larger brand that we have built together, has filed its LLC. We are approved. We are actually about to get some funding, I believe. I heard good news this week, Evo. And we wanted to kind of change everything that was happening, all the things that we were doing. So while we love the Lineman Lounge and everything that we have done here, we wanted to do something that was more on brand with what the No Sleeves Network is. So for your viewing pleasure.
People always ask us how we keep our marriage fresh.
We only do it raw.
I raw dog at the gym.
I like it raw when I study.
I raw dog while I party.
I like to raw dog afterwards.
I raw dog.
I raw dog at work.
I raw dog in the library.
I raw dog in the bathroom.
Raw Dog Sports. You know you like it raw. So, guys, the Lineman Lounge is going away, but Raw Dog Sports will be taking over. We are rebranding as Raw Dog Sports, effective tomorrow night. We will be coming live post-draft round 1 with reactions. You are all invited. You are all more than welcome to join us. Thank you, Byron, for being in here, our graphic designer who created the Raw Dog logo. And Mac, I just want to give you a special shout out. Like I put out the poll that I was getting a dog. So I'm not actually getting a dog. The dog's name on the Raw Dog logo is now named Blitz. You are one of the nicest people I have ever met and congratulating me on my new pup. So Mac, shout out because that was fucking super dope. You are a great, great person. But Blitz is the name of our mascot for Raw Dog Sports.
That's awesome. That's awesome. To be honest with you, I'm just a big dog lover. Probably best decision of my life was getting my pup from the shelter 2 years ago. This is awesome to see. Congratulations on the name change, and it definitely fits you guys.
Yeah, I would say that that definitely more on brand. We tend to just kind of let loose. Evo, when's the last time you used protection?
Maybe high school, but I'm a dirty bastard. Yeah, it's been a while. Look, this is a cool kind of advancement for us. Also, it'll be nice to not have electrical linemen coming to us all the time being like, can we advertise with you guys and stuff like that. But yeah, like we're looking forward to kind of advancing what we do, be a little bit more on brand, and to see how things go forward with Raw Dog Sports.
I'm very excited for Raw Dog Sports. Thank you to all the people that agreed to be in that video, by the way. Super awkward to ask people, hey, do you want to come and make a dick joke about raw dogging on camera?
I just want to say, man, congratulations to y'all, man. This is, I think, our third time being on here total. You know what I'm saying? So, being on the podcast, having fun, y'all deserve it, man. Y'all solid. So I'm happy for y'all. I'm gonna be tuning in still, Hey,
I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Mo. Guys, with that, I thank you for being here. Thank you for helping us promote all of this shit. Let's continue to roll on in the draft. Andy, you are on the clock with the Bears.
Let's go. And congrats, by the way. The Bears, I know as a Browns fan what it's like to watch an offense that feels like it's in a coma. And after their pretty good start, Chicago's offense was just abysmal to watch. That was pretty terrible. So they are going to go offense. And they're going to raw dog it because they're going to go for Tyler Warren. Versatile, can catch contested passes, yard after catch. He can block. He can do it all. I think it's a slam dunk. It'll make Caleb Williams very happy. So that's the pick.
Tight end 1 in this draft for me. I'd be interested to see the way they work him in. But listen, he's an absolutely premier pass catcher, probably number 3 pass catcher in this draft. You could argue 2. Casey, what do you got?
Well, I filled out a first round challenge, and Warren was my pick for Chicago. I just feel like he fits what they need. And I'm not letting Cole Kmet stop me from taking a guy that I think can be a top 5 at the position. Now, tight end also has a long learning curve. Very few times do tight ends come in the league and just blow up. But
except for recently,
we saw Laporta and Bowers do it.
Yeah.
So I think, and just Ben Johnson being the head coach now, I think he'll know exactly what to do with Warren. We saw what he's able to do with Laporta. So I see a path to success.
All right. Andy, get in here. Oh, you already said it. Mac, I'm sorry. I had a big ass drink.
Tyler Warren, easy tight end 1, best overall tight end in terms of potential, build, receiving ability. I think he can do a little bit better. Blocking. I think his overall footwork, route running, and blocking could be a little bit better, but it's definitely good enough to start. I would say at least on 2016 in the NFL. Hell of a weapon. And he's a guy that you can split out wide. So he's one of those, wide receiver kind of tight ends. And what better for a quarterback that's still growing in this league, Caleb Williams, than his security blanket? That's what he doesn't have yet. Keenan Allen, great, but aging. Romeo Dunze has not come along yet. DJ Moore is wildly frustrated. And while Cole Kmet's great, he's just not a top 10 tight end, and you get possibly a top 10 tight end with the 10th pick in the draft.
All right. Gentlemen, we are going to go ahead and move on because, I took a long ass time at the beginning of the show. So I'm going to move on to the 49ers. I am up, and this is super easy. It's Mason Graham. If he's on the board at 11, I'm taking Mason Graham. I'm the 49ers. I love defensive linemen. I can figure out how to swap them for, multiple picks, make them exceptional. Mason Graham's on the board. I'm the 49ers. I'm taking him. There's no way I can't.
Yeah, I think that they want to build from the trenches out. With Robert Saleh going back there, he wants to build defense trenches out. I think Walter Nolan is a real possibility for them there at that spot because most times Mason Graham isn't available at pick 11, but you're going to go with Graham over Nolan, not just because he's probably a better prospect, but Nolan has some of those character concerns. There's been reports about him walking out of practices and stuff like that in college and being a little bit of a locker room nuisance. But Graham being here makes a lot of sense for that 49ers team.
Absolutely. Jared, you got anything in here?
No, Mason Graham's the pick because, if he falls that far, I'd love the Browns to have him. I'm not going to lie. So he falls that far, he should go there.
I agree. All right, guys, we're going to move it on. Evo, you are on the clock with the Cowboys.
Yep. Look, Jerry, I think, wants to make a splash this year. I think he's going to entertain the possibility of trying to trade up if Ginty makes it anywhere past pick 6. I don't think he will. And so Jerry's going to go back to kind of trying to be flashy, special. If Tet were here, he'd take Tet at wide receiver. I think wide receiver is probably something that they're looking at. Omari Hampton is an option, but look, Jerry likes bringing Texas guys in. It's right down the street. He's going to go wide receiver, Matthew Golden. I look, his play speed is not as fast as his combine speed. I'll give you that. I think he has more room to develop and grow. I'm not soured on him, but I was pretty high on him earlier on in the draft process.
Wide receiver 1.
It was like 1A, 1B, him and Tet. I've moved off of that. I like Tet number 1. I actually like Mecca Ibuka too. Golden somewhere down in that 3-4 range with Luther Burden for me. And so this isn't what I would do necessarily, but I think it's a very Jerry pick. I think it makes a lot of sense because he likes his Texas boys. He likes his flash and flare. He wants to get someone to pair up with CeeDee Lamb. So we're going with Matthew Golden.
Matthew Golden. So I know you were very, very high on him to start the draft process. I don't know why you soured so much. Because I think he's really
got a Stephon Diggs type of curve potentially. But I think that I probably got a little bit trapped by that 40 time initially. Like I liked him, and then the 40 time made me be like, oh shit, this guy's gonna be gangbusters. But watching more of his tape and everything, he doesn't play 4.29. And he wasn't always like the highlight guy there at Texas in the receiving corps. So I think he's still got some room to grow, some things to do. But for me, I think Jerry's just gonna fall in love with him.
Jay, let me get you in here.
Oh shit.
No, you're good, bro.
Who'd you
Jay,
call?
Go ahead. Jay.
What up?
What do you got?
I mean, I don't know. I see the potential there. I wouldn't be mad selecting him. I can't believe you had him and Tet 1A and 1B. I could see it though. I think the speed does kind of like grab everybody. I think he's gonna be solid in the league. Potential big play guy. I see Tet as the clear 1A in this draft, and I know a lot of people kind of were waffling on that because he was saying he didn't want to watch tape, but I think it's a solid pick, though. I'm okay with that.
Mo, hit it. Go ahead.
I mean, I agree with Evo. I like Golden 100%. I think he really came onto the scene later once Bond got hurt, though. Like, he was never the clear-cut one at first. But, I mean, I can also see them going edge, like putting, like, a Mike Green on the other side of Micah. You know what I'm saying? You create a nasty pass rush duo. Or, I mean, you could go another DB because they both their DBs is hurt. But, I mean, this is a good pick. I like this pick for them. I think they need a wide receiver, period, because they had Brandon Cooks as their wide receiver 2 last year. He's not even there no more. So,
all right, we're moving on to the next pick. Dolphins on the clock. Extra up.
All right, to recap the Dallas, that might be where they trade Parsons and this pick to the Browns for Newsome in our pick. Just keep that in mind. So the Miami Dolphins, they need an offensive lineman, cornerback, safety, D-line, and tight end. This is where I'm going to think of, since I think Armstead retired. So Kelvin Banks is on the board. We got Mikael Williams still on the board. We got Will Johnson still on the board. And especially if they flip their corner who wants out. But here, oh, damn. They got to protect their quarterback. I'm going, damn. It could be Mike Green, Mikael Williams. I'm going to go with Kelvin Banks.
Kelvin Banks.
Alrighty. A lot of steam on Kelvin Banks in the past, like 48 hours. Like, guard, tackle, anything like that. I think he's a super solid pickup because they need help at both guard and tackle. So wherever you want to fit him in, I think he's going to be a solid pick.
Casey, go ahead.
He was just kind of the forgotten name during this process. If right when the season ended, he was up there listed, right behind Campbell. And then the season, all the underwear Olympics, everything takes place. He kind of falls down the pecking order. But like Evo just said, over the last 48 to 72 hours, you're hearing that a lot of NFL teams are super high on Kelvin Banks. And you got to protect Tua in any way possible. So makes sense.
That guy you absolutely need to protect. Mo, moving on to you with the Colts.
Now this pick, this is some good players there, but they need that tight end. And like I think Colston Loveland. Colston is 1A, 1B with Warren for me. Like, I feel like he can have that Mark Andrews type of impact in the passing game. Like, he is nasty, and I feel like you can run a passing game through him. And that's something that they need because they tight ends cannot stay healthy for nothing. So give him Colston. Give him Colston.
The Colts could obviously use some additional weapons. You need somebody to try to get whichever quarterback ends up starting there, because neither one of them has shown a lot of great starting experience. You need to give them a cushion. You need to give them somebody that can be that safety blanket, that check down. Colston can be that guy. Mac, what do you got?
So part of me wants Mike Green, of course. Then the other part of me thinks, okay, you think that you have your quarterback, Michael Penix. So why not put him in the best position that you can on offense and, go for maybe a Shamar Stewart later on. I don't think that Stewart's going to go in the first round just simply because of how raw he is as a prospect. Great, the underwear Olympics, but he needs to refine his tools. And he needs a move outside of a bull rush. So give me Luther Burden here with Drake London, with Kyle Pitts. You got two big receiving targets, but where's the guy that's shifty, more around the line of scrimmage, can run your slot, be the dependable, always open guy. And that's Luther Burden, right? Everybody says that he's only the gadget guy. Okay, well, what if a team comes along that really needs a slot guy? There you go. If he's only a slot player, that's perfectly fine for Atlanta because that's what they need. And what better for, a rising quarterback than a guy that's usually going to run between 5 and 10 yards and be in the middle of the field. Pretty simple.
So Luther Burden here is a little bit of a surprise, but it does make a little bit of sense. The fact that it kind of a scheme fit. I not what I expected here. Evo, what do you got?
I mean, I'm going all on defense if I'm the Falcons, which means they're not going to do that. They haven't addressed their defensive rush needs in the first round when you expect them to. Like it was brought up, there's a wealth of talent here that could fix a lot of those problems. Jahad Campbell would be great for him. Mike Green would be great. As a Raku, any of these like defensive ends would be fantastic fits for him. Even if we're going into your defensive line, a Walter Nolan, yeah, they might think that some of their guys that they've taken in the past year or two could develop, Ruka Roro and Braylon Trice and things like that. But like I'm taking a more sure prospect in probably a Mike Green or a Shamar Stewart even maybe here if we're trying to go for more of a size guy. But Burden creates a scary possibility on that offense for sure. It's not something I think I've seen very often. I like Burden. I think he's more than just a gadget guy. I think that it's a little bit of a luxury pick for them here to take that when they do have such big issues with that pass rush.
Casey, give me your analysis and then take it into your pick, big guy.
It makes sense. I mean, I agree. This is a team they've refused to draft an edge rusher. They just refused to do it. But if you're going to draft a skill player, this was something they do need. I think everybody kind of wanted Kyle Pitts to be the move the chains guy. I don't know what's going on there. It's a failure to launch. You know what I mean? So getting Luther Burden, that kind of alleviates that for him. For my pick for the Arizona Cardinals, it's pretty simple, man. Look at their cornerback room, and it's Keitrell Clark, Jalen Jones, Max Melton, and Sean Murphy-Bunting. This team needs a corner. Jonathan Gannon needs a corner. Give me a guy that was scheduled to go in the top 5 picks at the beginning of last season. That's Will Johnson out of Michigan. If he's still here, man, this is a no-brainer. It's a slam dunk. We're going to upgrade that cornerback room in a huge way.
Yeah, that secondary has been kind of downtrodden for a few years down there in Arizona. So adding a Will Johnson, big body corner, makes a ton of sense. Evo, what do you got?
I mean, I love Will Johnson. If the medicals check out correct, if pro day wasn't that great, medicals are a question mark. But when he's out there, especially in like a zone, when he keeps the ball in front of him, he can be a game changer as far as being able to flip the field, get interceptions. That's the type of game changing talent that should typically be that top 10, top 5 pick. Getting him here at 16 is a big value for the Cardinals.
My doctors checked him out. He's good.
Hell yeah. Jared, go ahead and hop in here and then take us into your pick.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I mean, I got the Bengals. How the hell do I get the Bengals?
Like, somebody's gonna fucking pick for them.
Are you serious? Like, I want to question this randomizer right now.
There we go.
This is kind of some bullshit.
I don't give a shit. Fuck them.
All right. So let's see here. The Bengals suck. They need offensive line. They need defensive line. They need linebackers. And obviously, are they going to do Trey Hendrickson's contract? Does anybody know?
I doubt it.
All right. Well, at that point in time, Walter Nolan is still on the board from Ole Miss. Let's do it.
Alrighty.
Walter Nolan. So Walter Nolan here, that could work. I would like Mike Green here a little bit better if we're not going to pay Trey Hendrickson. Not different types of players in my mind.
Yeah.
Trey is a true 4-3 end, whereas Mike is a 3-4 outside linebacker. But it just, if you're not going to pay Trey, you want somebody that can rush the passer a little bit. I don't know if Walter slides out at all. Casey, I hear you hopping in here. What do you got?
I mean, I love Nolan, just a penetrator. If this is a guy who's coming out of high school, the number 1 recruit in the nation. You know what I mean? He's that type of talent. Sometimes he's not even worried about the call. He just beats his guy. I need him to get his head around more and make plays once he makes that penetration. The only other pick I would have considered here, outside of the defensive line, is they have botched safety so bad after letting Jesse Bates. Yeah, that's the only other place I would go. But any place on the defensive line, it's a need as well as safety.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going an edge rusher preferably over Nolan, even though I am a big Nolan fan. I'm probably going edge rusher just because of the Trey Hendrickson situation. I mean, you've got guys like Mike Green, Jalen Walker still on the board. I haven't even talked about him yet. You've got different types of guys like Michael Williams out of Georgia, or Shamar Stewart if you want more of a bigger guy. They've kind of got their option to choose any of those guys. And I feel like that would end up being a better fit for them long term. But Malachi Starks too at the safety spot makes a ton of sense. Or even Amanawari if you're big on him. I don't know if that's their type of safety. But a lot of options there. I would, while they could use some guard play on the offensive line, I'm absolutely hammering defense if I'm the Bengals in this draft.
Yeah, their defense has been terrible for years. So defense makes a lot of sense. Jay, you're on the clock with the Seahawks. Where are we going?
Yeah, I also too wanted to question this simulator because I fucking have no interest in the
Right?
Seattle Seahawks. They bore the fuck out of me. I do think that I was happy though that Mike Green was still on the board. I do think that Cincinnati needs to select an edge because I just don't know how they pay everybody. So it was between Walker and Green. I'm gonna go with Green, man. I don't know. I just like what I've seen out of him so far. Man, it seems like he's violent, literally. No. So they said
Allegedly.
Hold on. Let's say that. I know this is the last Lineman Lounge, but before we kick off into the Raw Dog, allegedly. Allegedly.
I thought y'all was trying to step into the Raw Dog the right way, man. You just got to kick the door.
There we go. There you go. Go ahead.
No, but Mike Green, no, I really, I think that Cincinnati, if they don't go edge, I think that Seattle would be happy.
Uh-oh. We lost him. We're going to go ahead and keep moving on. Buccaneers on the clock. Andy, you're on.
Okay. Well, I love Baker, as I've already said, but they need to focus on defense over there in Tampa. I watch a lot of their games because I'm a big fan, and their defense is just pretty bad. So I know they need edge, and I know they need linebacker help, but I think they need someone that's just going to be nasty, that's just going to be a wrecking force. So I'm going Donovan Ikurabu.
Donovan
Ezraku.
Yeah.
Zaraku. Hell yeah. All right. Donovan Ezraku. Massive jump in production this year. So it'll be interesting to see how he translates. I mean, it seems like a pretty athletic fucking guy. Casey, go ahead.
He's got the deepest pass rush bag of anybody in this draft. You're going to pair him opposite of Yaya Diaby. I think Ezraku is super underrated. If you just look at his physical measurables, very comparable to Abdul Carter, actually. Like as far as height, weight, speed, you know what I mean, explosivity. So I think he's very overlooked. Obviously, you go to BC, no one's really catching Boston College games, but like he has a variety of ways to win.
Yeah, Mac, go ahead, hop in here, brother.
Yeah. So I think in terms of pass rushes that have completely fall from grace is an understatement. I remember watching the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl with Tom Brady, and you had Shaq Barrett on one side, James Pierre-Paul on the other. Now, this NFL players are still NFL players, world-class athletes, but they have nobody on that defensive line. So, yeah, it seems like an absolute no-brainer. They need a pass rush, and they need it bad.
It's really hard to argue against that. And since, I'm on the next pick, I'm going to go ahead. It's a good pick. I think there are other places that they might look to go. I think a guy like a Johnny Barron here, a multiple defensive player that can be kind of a Swiss Army knife, might be a nice fit. But I'm going to move on to the Broncos. Running back at this point, for me, it's too high to take Marion Hampton. I don't love that idea. But a guy that I do love, obviously I'm a little bit of a homer. Emeka Egbuka here, working out of the slot, kind of giving Bo Nix a guy that really would mesh well with what he does. Just an always secure. Where Emeka is going to be. He is a precise route runner and he catches the fucking ball.
That's a good pick.
I think if you put Emeka with a Broncos offense, it's going to be it's going to be a really, really nice fit. So I'm going to Emeka Egbuka here.
Yeah,
So-
super high floor guy.
I was hoping he stayed out of the AFC.
So, me too. But so how would he fit? Because they got the 7th round pick, Vele. They got Marvin Mims, Cortland Sutton.
Emeka Egbuka slides in as your day one slot. And for damn near most of these teams that we're talking about, except for guys that are super, super established. And if we're talking about the wide receivers in Denver, who was really established out of maybe Cortland Sutton, who that fan base is up and down on a year-to-year basis, depending on who's throwing the ball and how many drops he has.
Yeah, you ain't lying about that one.
Emeka Egbuka does not drop the ball. He is a secure catch guy. He moves the sticks. Like for that Sean Payton offense, it just makes a lot of sense to me. Keep the sticks moving. You could dink and dunk them, and then you take your shot.
I love it.
Jay, go ahead. You agree with my take, so I want you to talk.
Yeah, no, I love. That's how this shit's rolling. All right, mental note. No, I don't know. I love everything about Egbuka, man. I don't know. I know he. They talked about his character just as far as taking the back seat to the young kid this year, stepping up and getting most of the publicity and rightfully so. But I think his character is something that isn't talked about enough because he was projected to be the number one guy after everybody left last year, and having that freshman step in and kind of take the limelight and him still be able to produce, like you talked about his hands. I mean, it's automatic. The thing that opened my eyes to him was in that Utah game, in the bowl game, in the Rose Bowl. He went fucking nuts, and I don't know. He showed that he has a lot of potential, and he can be a game breaker, man. I think he flies under the radar a lot because he doesn't seem like a big me guy. But I love that pick, and pairing him with Sean Payton, I think that's a good pick.
And he's a big slot, which Sean Payton loves. Matt, go ahead.
I mean, I will touch on your first point before you made your selection in a second here. But in terms of Emeka Egbuka, he's, like you said, reliable. He's consistent. I mean, it's automatic. You don't just lead your university, which I mean, you could have a CBS receipt of guys that have played at Ohio State and then went on to be great NFL players, right? And Emeka Egbuka, in terms of statistics, is right at the top. And he's, yes, because he stayed there for, longer than the average, college football player that has come through Columbus. But like you said, he's reliable. And when you have those deep shots with Cortland Sutton, you need something underneath. You need the guy that can make the tough catches. You need the guy that can create separation. And that's what Emeka Egbuka is. The only reason why he's sliding down this far is because he's one of those players to where it's high floor, a little bit lower ceiling. But there's nothing wrong with taking a guy with an extremely high floor that's very consistent. Is he the flashiest? No. But when you need a big catch on third down, that's your guy. So, yeah, excellent pick.
I mean, you want to talk about a guy who is exactly like his coach was. I mean, Brian Hartline and Emeka Egbuka are basically the same fucking receiver. They are so similar in what they do. Anybody else got anything here on Emeka Egbuka before we move on?
Yeah, I don't know about the Hartline and Egbuka comparison, but
oh man, I'm telling you, the way they run routes in their hands, it's so good.
I can see that. I think Egbuka is a little bit more explosive than Hartline was.
I mean, Hartline was a slow slot guy, so I can see that. All right, so moving on, Mac on pick 21, Steelers on the clock.
I absolutely hate this. This pick makes me sick to my stomach. I'm getting nauseous even thinking about it. But Amarian Hampton is on the board. This is an Arthur Smith offense.
Please no.
They have the best third down running back with Jalen Warren. They need the bigger guy. And Amarian Hampton, 6'1", 220. He's that rare running back to where does he have the greatest acceleration? No, but he has topped out at over 20 miles an hour. Per these next gen stats, he ran a 4.46 at the combine. So I think a little bit is just sometimes he gets caught up, between between offensive linemen. But in terms of what you want in a running back is like the kind of mold where it's you get big, tough, and fast. Yeah, that's Amarian Hampton. And what better because here's the thing that we still don't know yet. Well, the Steelers know, but we don't know. What's going on with Aaron Rodgers? Is he playing this year? Is he not? Is he going to be?
Who knows if the fucking Steelers know?
But here's the thing: they're going to know before they make this pick, because
He's going
if
to
it's
Pittsburgh.
not, they're going to go QB here. And I can tell you they want to build the offense around their quarterback, whether it's Mason Graham, whether it's a rookie, whether it's Aaron Rodgers. And the best way to do that is to get Amarian Hampton. And there's not, to me, and I know this might sound crazy, there is not that much of a drop off between Ashton Genty and Amarian Hampton. Two different running backs.
I disagree.
Two different running backs, but I'm telling you, this guy is special, and it takes a lot to be that big and to be able to finish runs the way that he does, and to be able to top out at speeds that he does. So,
if somebody would have said he's an AFC North running back, that's something I can agree with.
I mean, yeah, he is a nasty runner. He is a big boy who gets downhill. Mo, what do you got?
I just hope he stayed out the AFC North. I was hoping he went to Denver. There's two players that I don't. There's two players that I don't want to. There's three players I don't want to see in the AFC North. Sanders, I don't want to see him on another team. Hampton and Abuka, I don't want to see them. And Malachi Starks, I do not want to see them in the AFC North at all. At all.
I can understand that. I can understand that. X, you're on the clock with the Chargers.
So with the Chargers, they need a D lineman, wide receiver, running back, edge, and interior O-line. Here with so much on the board with D line wise, I'm hoping it's where the Browns call them up with Malachi Starks and Campbell on the board. They call and make a deal. But for right here, I'm going to take Derek Harmon out of Oregon for them.
Ooh.
It was either between him, Kenneth Graham, and James Pierce Jr. So I went with Harmon.
All right, so I like Harmon a little bit. Who else got something on Harmon here, Evo? I know you do.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Harmon. I think that he's super solid. We saw a little bit of weight drop this year when he went to Oregon, and he became a better penetrator. I think we haven't seen how good he can be because he only kind of started to scratch the surface. Good in the run, good as a pass rusher, is going to develop better as a pass rusher. I'm a big Derek Harmon fan, and that's a good get here for the Chargers. Though my assumption would be that they would go with Kenneth Grant here because the Michigan connection. Harbaugh had a lot of good things to say about Kenneth Grant when he played there. But look, I can't argue with Harmon. I think Grant and Harmon, they're very neck and neck for me on where I have them rated. So I'm cool going either way there.
So I like Derek Harmon. I think he is going to be a guy that you can get later in this first round that is going to be very comparable to guys like a Mason Graham and a Kenneth Grant. It's not where I expected to go. I expected to see a little bit more offensive firepower. That offense needs to continue to build around Harbaugh. But, I mean, listen, he loves playing defense. And Derek Harmon's an athletic freak. So I can see that. Mo, you're on the clock.
I think this is perfect. I mean, Green Bay want to move off Jair. You got a hell of a DB right there in Jahdae Barron. I mean, it just fits and make perfect sense. So you might as well. Like, I think that's a dream scenario for them. If he fell to them, I think they're going to jump on that because, I mean, I feel like they can use edge help. Lucas Van Ness really ain't panning out as good as he should or as they projected him to be. So edge ain't bad right here either, or you could go wide receiver. But I mean, Emeka gone. You can get Luther Burden, but I don't know if they're gonna.
Wow, Luther Burden's gone too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, that makes perfect sense. Then Jade all the way.
A similar size as well.
Yeah.
Jay, what do you got here? Anything on this?
Nah, I ain't got shit. Y'all got it.
I appreciate it. All right, hey, who does have something on Jade Barron? Evo, I know you do, obviously.
Yeah, look, I'm a fan of Jade Barron. I don't like seeing him go there to Green Bay. There's a lot of talk about his size overall, whether he can play on the outside or not, because he played a lot of outside last year at Texas. Looked really good inside the years prior, but we've seen him be able to play all over the field, safety, outside, inside. That sort of flexibility is going to be a really good thing for Green Bay. And I, at the end of the day, don't really care about the size, like the arm length concerns. Like we've seen guys who are phenomenal without that. We've seen Jade Barron be really solid in college, a utility piece for him. So Green Bay getting that, helping solidify that back end, especially when they do probably move on from Jair Alexander, because whether they move on from him or he stays there and he gets hurt again, they need that extra cornerback help.
All right, Evo, we're keeping it with you because guess what? You're on the clock with your Vikings. I know you would like to trade down here, I believe, is still the plan on night one. But since we're sticking and picking, I'm interested to see where you go.
Yeah, look, we have 4 picks in this draft. A trade down would be ideal. But also, we did such a good job in free agency that if we do stick and pick for a high-quality player, like I'm not going to be upset. For me, I'm going after one of my draft crushes, Gray Zabel. I love Gray Zabel. Look, Malachi Starks is very tempting here, as actually is Jihad Campbell. I feel like this could be a luxury picks for us to take just BPA on our board here because we did such a good job of free agency. We don't have a ton of short-term holes on this team. But Gray Zabel, for me, plays 4 out of the 5 positions on offensive line, potentially 5. I think he's best as a guard or a center. We picked up Will Fries and Ryan Kelly from the Colts this year, which is really solidifying that right side of the line. But they both have had injury issues now. Ryan Kelly particularly has injury issues more and more as he gets older. It's basically a 2-year contract with him. So Zabel could be the heir apparent at center for us, but he moves in immediately at left guard, starts there. And then if we have any other injuries that happen along the line, he can move at all those spots. I'm a huge fan of Gray Zabel. I honestly don't know if I'm going to see him fall past Seattle. So for him to still be here for me, I'm super stoked with it. The other one there would be Malachi Starks. Like, I can't argue with the talent. Obviously, we lose Cam Bynum to the Colts this offseason, and Harrison Smith comes back. He's 36 years old. He's not going to play forever. So having a Malachi Starks to replace him would be great. But it feels like, and maybe I'm wrong in this, but the positional value of safety is lower, and it feels like you can find a lot of guys day 2 and 3 in drafts to solidify your safety room. And we have some guys there already that we do like. So I'm going with Gray Zabel, build through the trenches, give JJ McCarthy a super strong offensive line to throw behind in that first year, build up that confidence. So for me, it's Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State.
So I know that you love Gray. You've been loving Gray. Huge flexibility. The fact that he was able to play all 5 positions is insane to me. Casey, go ahead. I know you want to get in here.
I mean, just the latest in the football factory that is North Dakota State. These guys just be pumping offensive linemen directly into the league. And I was just so impressed what he was able to do at the Senior Bowl. Because he played both interior guard positions and center, he just rotated. He took more snaps than anybody. I didn't see him lose a fucking rep.
He lost 0 reps at the Senior Bowl.
I mean,
0 reps on one-on-ones, which is unheard of.
I think he'll be an all-pro.
So Evo and I are trying to get down to the Senior Bowl next year to go actually and check it out and
I'll buy you a drink.
These practices. Sounds good, brother. We'll be. I'm gonna be there. Evo, by the way, I don't know if I told you, I'm fucking going. Like I got nothing else to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can make it happen. Of course.
Obviously. But man, Casey, let's keep it with you. Texans on the clock.
Josh Simmons, come on down. This is simple for me, man. Like, I'm trying to protect my investment. Yeah. And you've had a little bit of movement up there. I'm just keeping it rolling, man. I'm getting some protection. It might take a little bit for this man to fully bounce back, but if I'm just going off strict tape from last year, this was the best offensive lineman in college football. So, as long as he's got medical,
I think that
we're in.
I think he's possibly the best left tackle in this class if it wasn't for the injury. Like,
Yes.
I think he's fantastic, and it's a perfect situation there with the Texans because they don't have to start him right away. They brought in Cam Robinson. You can slow play Josh Simmons with his recovery from the patellar injury, or if you need to, you can play him at guard because they brought in a bunch of offensive linemen this offseason.
Trent Brown.
None of them make you feel great. So, like, you could start him off at a guard position and move him out to eventually be your starting left tackle. But either way, I think it's a fantastic value this late.
All right. Jared, anything here on Josh Simmons? Because I know you're an Ohio State guy.
You're muted.
Nope, you're muted, brother.
Permanently
Unmute.
muted.
Here we go.
There we
We're
are.
back. We're back. No, I wanted Josh Simmons for the Rams, but thanks, Casey, asshole. All right. For the Rams, I'm going to go. Still don't understand why Jalen Walker is still on the board right now.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Walker to the Rams.
All right, so this is an interesting prospect in my mind. There's a lot of different places that he's played. There's places where he's projected to play in the NFL, and how that all turns out. Mac, I'm going to let you go first. Jalen Walker.
Yeah, I mean, I personally would have went with Jahad Campbell instead. The problem with Jalen Walker is that it's kind of like how and like don't like kill me over this, but he just gives me that Isaiah Simmons vibe, where he does a whole bunch of things, right? Jack of all trades, but like what is he mastered in? And that's the issue. Great talent, absolutely. He's done like a lot of different things, whether it's blitzing, whether it's coming off the edge. Sometimes he even kind of played in the slot. He was just all over the place. And to me, if I'm a defense coordinator, and when I pick a guy, I want to make sure that I know I have a plan for him. Now, if you have a plan for him and you think absolutely, okay, he's going to be in this spot for us, and I'm going to dedicate all this time to it, he's going here. Awesome, great. But if you just need one of those two inside linebackers in that, odd scheme that they, that odd front scheme that they run, give me Jahad Campbell. So, I understand the pick if you have the plan. Me personally, I don't have him figured out, so I don't know distinctly where to put him.
X, I can see you want to get in there. I'm sorry, Evo, I'm going to cut you off. X, I can see you want to get in there. What do you got?
All I can see is what's waiting on the damn Ravens. That's what I'm looking about. What's waiting on the Ravens? Oh my God.
Evo, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, Jalen Walker lasting this long is potentially criminal. It absolutely could happen because the draft is wild. But I mean, he's getting talked about a lot as like a top 10 pick right now. I know he's very commonly getting mocked to like Carolina Panthers and whatnot. But for him to fall this spot and go to the Rams, I think it's a really good fit because McVay's going to find a way to use this guy. What was brought up is that what type of position is he going to be? They're going to have a plan for him. Like, he's a good locker room guy, someone who's on the upswing of their talent, showed some of that edge rush capability and plays off-ball linebacker pretty well. Like, I'm higher personally, especially for off-ball linebackers, on Jahad Campbell as well. But I think to get Jalen Walker at pick 26 is a pretty good get.
All right, Andy, you got anything here, or you ready to move on to the Ravens pick?
We'll move it right along to the Ravens, and I'm going to have to drop off, unfortunately, after this.
Oh, I know, brother. I know you got a show right after this.
Starting in 2 minutes, and I'm freaking those boys out. Anyway, Ravens, they, for whatever reason,
replace Justin Tucker
to try to. Yeah, we should take a kicker for them, but I think that would be cheating, so I won't do that. But for whatever reason, the Ravens are trying to continue to this conspiracy of hiding the fact that Lamar Jackson has AIDS. I don't know why they won't just acknowledge it and put it out there, but they don't want to let everyone know that he does have AIDS. That's why he gets sick. It's like every week.
Jesus.
It's a Dog Chug exclusive. We've been talking about it for years. Anyway, they're going to focus on defense to continue to mask the problem they have on the offensive side. And the Ravens have this really annoying quality of like bringing in the perfect guy to like slot in next year. I hate them because they can do that really well. So they're going to go edge. And I have them taking Shamar Stewart, a guy from Texas A&M. They're sick of getting destroyed by Miles, so they're going to try and find their Miles of their own. Very athletic guy. Fortunately, he plays like Jane, in my opinion, so he's not going to be very good. But that's who they're going to pick.
All right.
Did you say Lamar Jackson has AIDS?
He does. Not very many people know this, but it's a Dog Choke exclusive.
Allegedly, God damn it.
I'm
By the way, we also have an by the way, for legal purposes, we have an LLC. So if you sue me, you'll be suing the LLC
Tune
that
into
has
the
no
Dog
money
to get proof of why that is. But
all right.
thank you so much for having me on.
Hey, Andy, tell everybody where you're at, tell where you're going, and say goodbye.
Heading over to the Dog Jug Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Like Raw Dog, we like to mix it up, get a little rowdy, and point out that Lamar Jackson does in fact have AIDS. So check us out.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I mean, I got
you brought
I can show
Chubbot
proof.
with you.
It's not allegedly if you have proof.
Okay. Andy, it has been a pleasure.
By the way, I will not be invited back next year, but thank you.
I think this might be a good time for me to slide too, you guys. I'm burning the night oil. I gotta run early in the morning, man. So
all right, Jay.
I just want to say I
appreciate you.
No, for real. Honestly, I really do appreciate you guys, man. I really didn't have a lot of time to prepare for this, but like I wanted to make sure that I was a part of this last run you guys had. So I appreciate you guys reaching out to us a couple years ago. I think it's been a really cool thing for OTC to be a part of. So salute to you guys, and obviously we'll support you guys moving forward with the Raw Dog. So make sure y'all stay tapped in. Some really quick things. I think Kevin Stefanski is in love with Will Howard and Kyle McCord. And look out for Carson Schlesinger. That's my sleeper linebacker, man. Y'all take care.
Hey, Jay, all love, brother. I appreciate you.
Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Hey, we're going to go ahead and continue right along with this. I know we're getting close to the end of the night. X, you are on with the Lions.
All right. So the Lions need an edge rusher, interior line, linebacker, wide receiver, and offensive tackle. Putting Campbell next to Jack was it, but I'm going to put James Pierce Jr. on the opposite side of our other pass rusher. So that's what I'm gonna go with.
Righty.
I kind of like this as well.
Hold on. Did Mike Green go yet?
There's no way.
Mike Green is gone. Yeah, Mike Green is gone. Has to be, right? Yeah.
Yep. Seattle at 18.
18. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going James Pierce.
Righty.
I like this. Listen, pure like athletic pass rusher. See what he can do on the opposite side. It's an interesting pick. He's a little raw, but just athletic freak. Casey, what do you got?
I mean, we saw what happened after Hutchinson went down.
Yeah.
They needed someone over there. I mean, obviously they came for us for Z. You know, they need some homegrown talent. They need to develop someone and just someone to be a running mate with Hutchinson, who's going to be a stud for years. So if you can develop another one, all of a sudden, you know, life as an opposing quarterback isn't so comfortable.
No, not at all. Matt, go ahead.
So I would have either gone with him or Kenneth Grant. Aiden Hutchinson needs help. It was crazy how long he stayed in the top 10 in several pass rush metrics, even though he got injured by was it week 5, week 6?
Yeah.
So you got to get the guy help. The Lions offense right now is built for a playoff run. Defense, not so much. So, someone other than Aiden Hutchinson, now you could go, like you said, Jaheed Campbell, and pair him, with Jack. That'd be great. But it all starts up front. So it's very smart pick here.
All right. Mo, My man, you're on the clock with the Commanders.
So with Washington, let me see who's here. I'm not gonna lie, man.
You know who to pick.
I'm not gonna lie. This is one of my favorite guys, and they need a corner. Trey Amos is an athlete. I'm not gonna lie. Trey Amos is a smooth athlete. He can flip his hips. Like his game translates to those lockdown corners that will mirror you with every route that you run. And I'm high on him, honestly. I think he's a top 5. Really, he's like top 3 in my opinion, behind Hunter and Will Johnson. That's just my opinion. But I think get them some corner help, put them somebody on the other side of Sandstrom, who they got from Michigan. He's their slot guy. And then Marshawn, because they don't got St. Just anymore, I don't think. I think he left. So get you another corner, get you some lockdown defense out there. You're going to need some trenches still, though, but it's a deep D-line drive, and I feel like it's a sharper fall off from the corners than the edges at this time, you know. So.
Physical dude, I think that can be a really nice piece. That Commanders team is on the up and up. Obviously, they found the quarterback. They have running back here. They're going to just continue to platoon guys. If you want to do anything, I could see maybe you go with some offensive line just because of injuries that have happened to that offensive line. Obviously, saw I don't remember the tackle's name, goes down in the playoffs. But I can see corner here. Trey Amos is good fucking pick. Good fucking pick. Jared, what do you got?
Yeah,
anything on Trey Amos?
No, that's a great pick.
All right, Mac, we're sliding on to you, brother. Oh, go ahead, Evo. You got something?
I was going to say, I really am a big fan of Amos, too. I think that he's slept on because he's not flashy, but he's one of the higher floor cornerbacks here. And you have a bunch of cornerbacks in guys that have already gone, like Will Johnson, or people coming up here like Ben Morrison. Injury guys, Savon Ravel. They got injury concerns with high ceilings, but that creates that low floor. Amos has a pretty damn good ceiling, but his floor is really high, too, so he's super solid pick.
All right, Mac, you're on the board with the Bills.
Yeah, by the way, was that planned or was this randomized?
Completely randomized, brother. Completely randomized.
Well, hey, the Buffalo's picking for Buffalo. You know, I feel like you can't go wrong here either between Starks or Campbell. Both have fallen way too far, in my opinion. But I think that safety is more important to prioritize rather than linebacker. You know, they've kind of built themselves a neat little kind of front four here with Oliver, Russo, and now Bosa. So, you know, they need help in the secondary. Nothing against DeMar Hamlin, you know, but they need a legitimate safety. Malachi Starks is a legitimate safety. And the biggest problem every year is they go to Kansas City and they play a guy named Patrick Mahomes, and their secondary just can't keep up. And you got to battle against it. And now, you know, if Abuka was there, yeah, I'd say go wide receiver. You know, Luther Burden was there, yeah, go. But how the board's working out right now, you know, Starks has, again, just sat way too long, and they need to address the defensive backroom for sure.
I know the Eagles was mad at them for taking him because that's Philadelphia Bulldogs right there.
It's true. They do like their Georgia players.
They most certainly do. Casey, any analysis on this before we move on to your pick?
I mean, Starks is a 5-tool safety, excellent ball skills. Like, I would hate to see him go there, actually. And he's phenomenal.
All right. So, Casey, go ahead and continue on. Evo, I'm going to run upstairs and take a piss, so lead it into the next pick when we get done. The last one is Jared.
Right. Well, we all saw the Super Bowl. We saw what happened. They couldn't protect Patrick Mahomes, right? So natural intuition would be like, okay, let's take an offensive lineman at minimum, probably a tackle. But I'm an agent of chaos, and the Kansas City Chiefs have been playing cocky far too long to change now. So give me Travion Henderson. Let's go big.
Oh, wow. That's probably our biggest jump of the night here.
You cocksucker.
Hell of a pull. Hell of a pull.
Nice.
Damn.
I love it. I love
Hey,
it.
look, it makes no
Damn.
sense there because they like their explosive backs. They don't really have anyone who is like the guy. Trevion Henderson, there's questions about like could he handle a full workload, but I don't think he has to there with Kansas City, and he just does everything well. Like Mahomes is gonna love being able to feed him the ball with that sort
You
of
can trust him in
kind
the
of
passing
home
game to
run
handle
speed.
pass pro stuff too. Like he's a home run hitter. But you'd probably trade back to get him, I understand. But if we're sticking and picking, let's go fucking big.
So I got
This
a
where I
question
think they
for you.
would trade with the
Go ahead.
Browns or something, or I
Mhm.
think they would take Jaden Higgins from Iowa State, maybe, or another receiver, unless they plan on Rice fully recovering from his injury. And I haven't heard nothing about his suspension, but he should be getting a suspension here soon if Addison getting one and all these other people.
It's very possible. Very possible.
So wait,
All right.
I got a quick question. Where did Nick
Oh.
Hannamori go?
He hasn't gone yet.
He's
On
still
the
Not
board.
gone yet. And Travion Henderson, hold on. Producer Amber just told me as I was coming out of the pisser. Travion Henderson goes in the first round. A third running back goes in the first round. What
Yeah.
happened while I was gone?
He just
I'm an agent of chaos, brother.
Hey, Mike, the new NFL.
Hey, you know what? There is a shift happening, I think. Two deep safeties, power running game. Mina Kimes talked about this a couple of years ago. I'm a huge Mina Kimes person. Like the power running game was starting to come back, starting to see more more yards per carry. We're kind of trending in that direction. I don't want to hijack it. Travion Henderson, love him. Absolutely fucking love him, especially in that offense. Would be crazy. Jared, but
Yes.
you're going to wrap us up. You're going to finish us out with the Eagles.
Well,
Evo, thank you for holding it down, dude. I was going to piss my pants so bad.
the great thing is about ending the Lyman Lounge final show and ending the final pick. And I hope that my boy, who is a Toledo alum, will love this pick. Darius Alexander to the Philadelphia Eagles. Lock it, book it.
Shit.
Okay. All right. So we're going to have a little bit of a conversation here. Darius Alexander
Definitely.
into the first round. Holy shit. I have not seen this.
Great defensive tackle, but a Jerry.
Very good.
Oh.
Wow. Okay. So I see a lot of Mac. We're just going to go ahead and take it up. And then
I mean, my only thing is that Kenneth Grant's sitting right there.
Nope.
You know,
Nope.
Like
my pick, my rules.
hey, you know, if that's your boy, that's your boy. You know, I get it. I get
I'm
it.
not picking it for me. I'm picking it for Big Bry.
All right.
Toledo alum.
Hell of a, you know, I do like him as a defensive tackle. I do. You know, I think he's got a high floor in my opinion. But Kenneth Grant is just on another level. I thought that he, you know, it's tough because you're playing next to Mason Graham, you know, who's a projected top 10 pick. So a lot of what you do goes under the radar. But Kenneth Grant is just a very polished guy. You know,
what the great thing is, Mac?
defensive tackle.
Hey, Mac, I love you, and I follow you. You know what the great thing is about Grant? He still plays for fucking Michigan. And guess what? In this state, we don't give a damn about the whole state of Michigan. The whole state of Michigan. The whole state of Michigan.
Hell yeah. Let it go, Jared. Let's
Love it.
fucking eat
Love
on
it.
the last episode of the Lineman Lounge, baby.
That better be
X.
clipped for the next show.
Hell yeah. X. Is this accurate? He unfollowed?
Yeah, that's what Andrew Filipponi said. He unfollowed the Steelers.
George Pickens unfollowed the Steelers.
You know what that means in the football world with these sensitive
Listen, we got the draft. We got the draft tomorrow.
I got someone to text after this thing.
I believe it was
thing is,
Schefter
what's the
possibly
consensus pick at
floated him.
33 for the Browns?
Boys,
You said
I
Schefter
wanna-
floated that?
I think Schefter had floated him as a potential guy still on a first contract that could be traded tomorrow.
And listen, not the first time the Steelers have moved off of a wide receiver early either. It's George Pickens. Listen, I was not a big George Pickens guy in the draft process. I was 100% wrong. He's supremely talented.
Mm-hmm.
But can you get past the other things that comes with George Pickens?
I'm never touching a Steelers receiver that they're moving off from because the guy's probably fucked in the head. Like, if Tomlin is like, I'm done with this guy, yeah, that's scary.
That's tough. Yeah, it is tough.
The writing was on the wall for me when they went and traded for DK. That's the same skill set.
The exact same body type. I mean, it's a little bigger in DK.
Yeah. Did y'all hear about Kirby Joseph just signed a contract?
I ain't gonna lie, man. I sat there and I watched them trade for DK. Then they paid him 33. I'm just like, they're not finna sit there and do what the Bengals did and pay two receivers. It's not happening. It's not happening.
Nope.
All right. Well, guys.
So I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead.
So I preach this all the time. I only have one credible source out there, and he is a guy that is very close to the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. He says it's all smoke. He said it's all just off-season drama. Unless they get the right price, they're not moving him. And this is a guy that I trust with my absolute life. He is very close with the Steelers weight room coach. Has had several players, kind of close to him. So he's telling me, and I can see it, because of the drama with George, and they technically just paid DK Metcalf. So it's kind of highly unlikely that they'll pay another wide receiver kind of that top money. And kind of knowing George Pickens, it kind of seems like he's kind of the guy that would kind of like the high respect contract. But as I'm seeing it right now, quote, of course you're going to field offers and at the absolute right price, maybe, but
okay.
Dude,
all right.
I hope the hell they don't trade him. I want to see this cat melt down.
I'm hoping for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers to the Steelers is what we should all be hoping for as Browns fans.
Just complete obliteration.
Absolutely fucking implode that entire.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. Guys, wow. So we've had some people in, out. Thank you, everybody. Mac, Casey, Mo, X, everybody who's still here, Jared, Jay, Andy, everybody who was here. Thank you. When I started on this dumbass journey several years ago, trying to do this, I started by myself, and then I brought Evo on. Evo has been there to support me the whole way. Now I'm in school trying to learn how to do this the right way. And Evo, thank you for everything that you have done, all your help. And to you guys, Mac, as a new guy, Casey, similar, and Mo, X, we haven't interacted a lot on here, but we've interacted a lot on Twitter. So thank you guys for being here, for supporting what it is that we do. We are a veteran-owned, a veteran-run organization. It means a lot to us to be able to be who we are, speak our minds, not through a filter that everybody tells us that we're supposed to have. So we are going to try to continue to do that with Raw Dog Sports, with the talk, with all of the other things that we do, all of our blogs. So guys, thank you so much. I'm sorry I couldn't let you in on the secret beforehand, but it was really important to us to do it this way. So thank you guys very much.
No problem, man. You brought me on my first pod. My first pod was that mock draft, you know what I'm saying? So it's glad to see y'all, come a long way from that, because that was the first one was 3 years ago, because I was still in Atlanta at that time. So
yeah,
it was like 3 years ago. So I mean, it's good to see the growth that y'all got. You know, like I said, y'all solid. You know what I'm saying? So I love to see that for y'all. Honestly.
I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, and Mike, don't forget to send me that link to that.
I will send you the link for the documentary.
Yeah.
X, I'm sorry it didn't work out that day.
You know what? A lot of things were going, and Mo had just said, I finished mine. And I was like, no, I wanted to go down and see it. So, but congrats on the documentary. I know it's going to be good. Congrats on the Raw Dog. Y'all going to Raw Dog it. Only way veterans can.
Yeah.
And I really just appreciate you guys for not being scared to give your opinion, because when y'all come into our spaces, people think that you can't have a different opinion, but we welcome that different opinion, that argument, and bringing facts to the table to make a different opinion, even if it's different from ours. So I just like that y'all bring facts, and y'all bring statistics, y'all bring data, y'all bring y'all own opinion, and y'all don't go with what everybody wants you to say. You say what you want, and I like that.
Fuck yeah, we raw dog it, baby. Appreciate you, X. Appreciate you guys. Hey, Mac, Casey, everybody, before we get out of here, tell everybody where they can follow you, where they can see the things that you create, where they can see everything that you do. We're going to try this one more time. I don't need to go into the top left corner or the middle. So we're going to start with Mo, and then we're going to work it like we read. Go ahead, Mo.
No, he muted.
He muted.
I was muted. My mind. You can find me on Twitter, Mo Rax, man. I'm with OTC with JOX. That's my OTC brother. You know, we created a platform for people to, you know, similarly what you guys do. You know, have your opinions, be able to speak your mind, even if you don't agree with us. You know, that's perfectly fine. So we just hold spaces for everybody to, you know, come in, speak their mind. It don't even got to be about the Browns. We didn't have Patriots people in there, you know, Bengals people. So it's just for everybody. So
appreciate you, Mo. Go ahead, Matt.
So you can find me across all platforms, same name, THA_Buffalo. I also write for Dog Pound Daily. I do just want to say to the former Lineman Lounge first, I know I interact with you guys on Twitter a lot. This first time being on the show. Love your guys' stuff, and the transition just fits. I do, you know, enjoy the dynamic, and I do want to thank you for having me on here. Casey, you know, it's always a pleasure talking ball with you, and to X and Mo. I know, you know, sometimes we go back and forth on the Twitter, but it's all love, man. I do appreciate your guys' spaces. I know that you guys invite me a lot in. Unfortunately, during the day, I'm just busy at work. I wish I could join and like actually talk, but you know, you guys always have good discussion in there, and I think that's, you know, what it's supposed to be all about, is just good discussion. Because at the end of the day, except for Evo, you know, you've been blessed to not be a Browns fan, but you know, to root for the Cleveland Browns at the end of the day is very tough. So you know, at least try to have some good conversation about it.
Hey, Mac, you good with me because you don't want Abdul Carter at too, brother. Hey, we together.
Casey, go ahead, man.
Yeah, you can find all my writing at the Orange and Brown Report, obr.com. You catch me Tuesday nights, 8 o'clock, Barking Browns on YouTube, and on the OBR streaming network, Thursday night, 7, All Eyes on Cleveland. We're going to be live for the entire draft from 7 o'clock tomorrow night until Mr. Irrelevant. You know what I mean? So if you get bored, swing on YouTube, throw some comments. I like getting mixing up with people.
Casey, I appreciate you, man, very much. X, go ahead.
Y'all can reach me, the real Xavier P, on Twitter. I'll probably be coming out with some new stuff, because unfortunately I'm probably gonna end I'm ending my federal career in June. So I'm going to, you know, switch lanes, and I'm looking to open my own splat ball paintball business, gearing it with career coaching and, you know, training. So I'm going to look for that coming in the next couple 6 months. And I just really appreciate you guys, because I'm aggressive on Twitter. And I think it's because I hate our media, because our media, I don't think, gives opinions, or they don't. The only time they're truthful with their opinions when they're talking about Deshaun Watson. Other than that, it's basically the same regurgitated stuff. So reading the OBR, reading Matt, because I steal all your shit and put it. I'm reposting everything because when it's talking about Shador, I'm stealing it every time.
I appreciate that.
And then the Lineman Lounge, y'all just bring tape, which is one I love the film with OBR. I love the tape, the data, and the statistics because our media doesn't bring that. So I'm so happy with the Browns podcast that we have, because our the podcasters for Cleveland is saving it because we don't have that in our actual media that's on the radio and on TV.
Well, X, you know what, man? I appreciate you very much. We've had our disagreements, but once again, it's all love. And once you get all your stuff up and running, from one veteran as well as Evo to another, man, hey, let us know. We're there to support. Thank you for your service and all love, man. I appreciate all of you guys very much. But with that, we're gonna get the fuck out of here for the last time as a Lineman Lounge. Guys, I am Mike. That is Evo. Anytime you spend time with us, we are forever grateful. Time is the most valuable resource that you have. You'll never get it back. So anytime that you give some of it to us, we couldn't ask for anything more. We will be back actually tomorrow night, but not as the Lineman Lounge, as Raw Dog Sports, taking you into the next generation of what the No Sleeves Network and everything that we are going to do is. So to everybody who was able to join us tonight, thank you very much. It is a dream of mine to be able to talk and have people listen and want to engage when I'm talking about sports. I was lucky enough to find my guy in Evo, and I have found a good group in the people around here. So thank you all very much. But Evo, give the people one last word.
Well, I would be remiss to not thank all of you and everyone who's no longer here for coming on and helping support us. Really, really appreciate it. It's always fun doing these mock drafts, even if they go 2 hours and 19 minutes.
Super long. I'm very, very sorry. I was drunk earlier in the show. Producer Amber poured me a drink with 6 shots in it.
Yeah. But no, thank you all so much for coming on and supporting us. Mike, thank you for the opportunity to be doing this with you. It's always fun, especially when we disagree. That's the most fun. I'm looking forward to the future, onwards and upwards. And you like it raw.
Hell yeah. Guys, thank you very much. I'm Mike. That's Evo. This is the Lineman Lounge. We'll see you tomorrow night when we raw dog the first round of the draft. See ya!